Chapter 261, The Thunder Ancestor's Punishment. Happy New Year. The Thunder Ancestor sat cross-legged, eyes like cold steel. He can even spy on and send messages into my secluded sleeping place? He wondered. He lifted a communication token and sent a message across the void to Yanfeng Ancestor. What do you know about that Galaxy Lord? Yanfeng answered after a moment's pause. What's happened? I've never tangled with the Galaxy Lord myself. The information I have is the same public knowledge you already possess. He just transmitted a message directly into my secluded sleeping place, the Thunder Ancestor said, voice low. Yanfeng stiffened. Outside the source world, cultivators from billions of worlds gathered, and low-level Hunyuan life forms ran rampant, so everyone guarded their residences carefully. There were specialized cave treasures and defensive formations built to keep out spies. Both Yanfeng and the Thunder Ancestor had been meticulous about securing their sleeping places. If he didn't break out of the cage, the Thunder Ancestor continued, then to do this, he must possess an extraordinarily powerful secret treasure. You mean one of the true top-tier treasures from the infinite space? Yanfeng guessed. The infinite space treasure trove, those treasures worth at least 100,000 reward points, were famous even beyond the source world. Half Hunyuan life forms coveted them, but they were almost impossible to obtain. Some exceptional cultivators had amassed enough points to exchange for them. The Emperor had over 110,000 points and used them on inheritances, choosing to invest in a Hunyuan bloodline rather than in the Great Path itself. Yanfeng had barely crossed 100,000 and had spent freely on inheritances. His points weren't enough for such a top-tier treasure. Luo Feng, who had gathered over 200,000 reward points, had finally exchanged for an Eye of Creation and Destruction. Most of the top-tier treasures are forbidden from being taken out of the source world, Yanfeng transmitted. And for those that can be transported out, cultivators usually won't carry them about. The ones offered in trade outside are usually worth tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, Yanfeng added. If something exceeding 100,000 appears, it's never our turn. Across the sprawling source worlds, with powerful cultivators converging, Yanfeng and the Thunder Ancestor were ordinary in comparison. So it's likely his treasure can't be taken out of the source world, the Thunder Ancestor mused. That must be why he shows it off without fear. Why did he come to you? Yanfeng pressed. It's about Baimo and Lan Duo, the Thunder Ancestor summarized briefly. Yanfeng understood at once. He hates evil like a personal vendetta, Yanfeng said. He wants to kill them. But since both are on Thunder Mountain, the Galaxy Lord can't do it himself. He's asking you to handle it. You want me to do it? The Thunder Ancestor thought. If the Galaxy Lord couldn't kill them directly, he wanted the Thunder Ancestor to do it in his stead? The decision is yours, Yanfeng transmitted. If you kill them, he will remember the favor. If you don't, this Galaxy Lord hates evil like a personal enemy. I don't think he'll stop. The Thunder Ancestor smiled tightly. It's my decision. On Thunder Mountain, in the ancient Great Hall, 8 monarchs knelt respectfully, not daring to meet the one on the throne. The Thunder Ancestor looked down at them, his face cold. Toward the Galaxy Lord, he felt suspicion, anger, jealousy, many tangled emotions, but before these kneeling monarchs, his expression was indifferent. Baimo, Lan Duo, do you understand your crimes? He asked flatly. Baimo and Lan Duo's hearts skittered. They had dared to plunder within the Thunder ancient country only because they understood how indifferent their ancestor usually was. The ancestor rarely intervened unless the overall operation of the ancient country was threatened. The deaths of ordinary imperial divine kings and countless lower beings barely registered with him. Even so, the two had plundered on a massive scale, taking roughly a 20th of the wilderness populations, a loss that would eventually replenish, but still bold. We understand our crimes, they replied in unison, too wary to say anything else. A single protest here could cost them their lives. From today, the Thunder Ancestor said, the two of you are to go to Sky Pillar World. There you will either obtain a special life form remains or secure a natural secret treasure. If you fail, you will perish when the origin continent moves toward annihilation. Baimo and Lan Duo were stunned. Die if they failed? Even reincarnation wouldn't save them when the origin continent collapsed. They bowed stiffly and accepted their sentence. The Thunder Ancestor gave them a hard glance and rose from the throne. Bai Mo and Lan Duo might be valuable tools he had cultivated. He would not waste them. If they could fetch a special life form remains or a natural secret treasure, the gain would be significant. You two were presumptuous to plunder within our borders, the ancestor said to the others. Now you must atone. The other monarchs showed no pity. Bai Mo and Lan Duo said nothing and left the hall. Huyang City, City Lord's Mansion, the Star Tower. Luo Feng's eye of creation and destruction opened at his brow, turning its vision toward Thunder Mountain. Through it, he could see past moments as clearly as a continuous, massive replay. Every past action left an imprint in spacetime. The eye allowed him to watch those imprints. Stronger cultivators hid themselves better in time, and complete Great Path Mastery provided near-perfect concealment. Still, Luo Feng's eye, an ability from a high-level origin life that had escaped the cage, could glimpse traces even of the Thunder Ancestor in Yan Feng, though not the subtle exchange through personal communication tokens. Luo Feng watched past scenes and saw the Thunder Ancestor summon his monarchs in the Great Hall. He's sending them to Sky Pillar World to fetch special remains or a natural treasure? Luo Feng frowned. And what about their demonic minions? No punishment at all. When he had earlier reviewed the Old Star Divine King's memories, Luo Feng had witnessed countless lives being sent to Lord Lan Duo with a single open mouth, devouring endless beings. Those images had stoked a burning hatred in him. He had already resolved to kill them both. But Thunder Mountain's protection and the Thunder Ancestor's stance made him hesitant. He had tried to reason with the Ancestor, but it had not worked. I displayed some methods, but the Ancestor wouldn't take it seriously, Luo Feng muttered. Enough. If others won't act, I will. He rose to his feet. If he did act personally, there would be no guarantee of success, but he would give everything he had. For the countless devoured beings, for the future, so powerful cultivators of the origin continent would no longer prey on lives wantonly. He would go all out. Whoosh! Two figures crossed a great distance and arrived at one of the entrances to Sky Pillar World. It's all your fault, Lord Lan Duo snapped as they flew. You egged me on, so I followed. Who knew this would anger the Ancestor so much? You reaped the benefits and now you blame me? Lord Bai Mo sneered. At least you have a clone on Thunder Mountain. I don't. I have to risk my true body in the depths of Sky Pillar World. When the origin continent returns to annihilation, if I fail to get the treasure, I'll die anyway. Lan Duo protested. She could have left the origin continent on her own, but now the Ancestor's decree bound them. No one forced you to devour billions of beings, Bai Mo spat. We both chose greed. They arrived at the entrance. The two great ancient kingdoms had stationed town defenders at Sky Pillar World's gate, and the town defender for Yanfeng Ancient Kingdom was none other than Luo Feng. Its divine king Luo He, Bai Mo and Lan Duo, glanced once and then continued, irritated and impatient. They plunged into Sky Pillar World. Luo Feng sat calmly, having watched their arrival with the eye of creation and destruction. In a single step, he reached the entrance. With a second step, he shattered the entrance arrays the two great ancient kingdoms relied on and materialized before Bai Mo and Lan Duo. They both stared in disbelief at the silver-robed, golden-masked man who had suddenly appeared before them. A chill ran through them. Thanks to the new alliance leaders, Juju Juerqi, Huko Tadi, and Zhang Shenmei, for their rewards. Thanks as well to the old alliance leaders, Old K and Mu Lu, Qing Shi Ye Zhou, for their continued support. Fangche wishes all readers a happy new year. May 2025 bring new beginnings, good health, and great fortune to everyone. Chapter 262, Kill the Monarch. Chapter 260, Killing a Lord. Lord Bai Mo and Lord Lan Duo both felt a chill of dread. It's the Galaxy Lord. He killed Emperor Yuan in 2 or 3 breaths. I wouldn't last more than that in front of him. Lord Bai Mo panicked. He had no clone to fall back on. Is the Galaxy Lord really this furious? Lord Lan Duo remained calmer. His clone hid on Thunder Mountain, and that gave him some confidence. Galaxy Lord. Lord Bai Mo forced a smile, about to speak. Humph, Luo Feng, wearing a golden mask, snorted coldly. His soul will secret art descended, an origin continent-reaching soul will, combined with the Li Yuan art. Boom, boom! Lord Baimo and Lord Landuo could perceive nothing else. It was as if a colossal star rolled toward them and crushed them whole. Even with Ultimate Realm life forms and God Emperor Realm secret treasures shielding them, the star-like force battered their soul consciousness. Crack, crack, countless fractures split their minds. The residual will of their Hunyuan bloodlines surged up. They could not suppress it, and both lost control. Ah! Lord Baimo screamed, veins of madness and pain showing through his features. His once pale, jade-like skin stretched and paled, becoming deathly white. A pair of white bone wings burst from his back. Lord Landuo's blue-white scales darkened to a deep, ugly navy. His face and body warped until he became a monstrous, almost entirely dark blue creature. Luo Feng's eye of creation and destruction, set in his brow, watched them without mercy. Losing control increases their weak points, he thought. Under his gaze, the few dozen vulnerabilities Baimo and Landuo originally had multiplied instantly into thousands, densely packed, varied in severity. Some were minor, some critical, some fatal. Still, every weakness required sufficient power to exploit. Even with the knowledge of those weak points, an ordinary God King First Realm fighter couldn't have touched the two lords. And once they lose intelligence, their life-saving faculties drop dramatically, Luo Feng observed. He extended his hand. Boom! A 9-story star tower materialized high above and began to fall. As it descended, it twisted the timeline. The descent and impact occurred as one, no escape, no reaction. What seemed like a simple tower drop was a terrifying, precise killing move born of exhaustive study of the star tower. Since gaining the Eye of Creation and Destruction, Luo Feng had reorganized his understanding of the life and destruction great path. He had previously grasped 9 8-branch fusion techniques, but could not advance. After his comprehensive evolution, he finally took the next decisive step, a 9-branch fusion secret technique, an ultimate realm-level secret of life and destruction. Over 70 epochs his eye had watched the star tower. His comprehension deepened, letting him unleash more of its power. At the moment the star tower struck, Lord Baimo, perhaps by the life will inside him, had a single lucid instant. He vaguely sensed he was going to die, and that there was no chance of survival. Didn't Emperor Yuan last 2 or 3 breaths? He had no time to find out. Pfft. Like a mountain crushing an egg, Lord Baimo was utterly annihilated. Luo Feng's star tower strike carried more than physical force. It was laced with curse-killing and karmic entanglement techniques, tuned to affect resurrection carriers. The carriers were fragile. Even those hidden on Thunder Mountain could be undone by a trace of curse-killing power. Before he had the Eye of Creation and Destruction, Luo Feng already knew the gist of these arts. With the Eye, he could see their inner workings and refine them. High-level origin life forms could even soul-contaminate God Emperor Realm powerhouses, causing Source World clones to decay and perish. Luo Feng's curse-killing and karmic entanglement had evolved along the same lines. The 9-story star tower struck both lords simultaneously. Both were defenseless and seemingly annihilated, but their God Emperor Realm treasures remained intact. In the origin continent environment, those artifacts were nigh indestructible. Luo Feng frowned. One was truly dead, Lord Baimo, completely wiped, karma gone, but Lord Landuo still lived. He looked toward Thunder Mountain. Using his soul will had thrown the two lords into chaos, then his eye had pinpointed the most fatal weaknesses, and finally the star tower had hammered them down at full force. Baimo had been erased without time to reincarnate. Lord Landuo, however, had all his external clones destroyed. Only the clones sheltered within Thunder Mountain endured. My curse killing was largely blocked by Thunder Mountain, Luo Feng murmured. The residual power couldn't finish Lord Landuo's ultimate realm life form. Under the origin continent's power limits, killing an emperor or a lord remained extremely hard. When he'd slain Emperor Yuan, it had taken 2 to 3 breaths. Now, even with greater strength than the Eye, he couldn't finish off Landuo. That was why he'd once urged the Thunder Ancestor to deal with them. If the Thunder Ancestor had truly executed them, Luo Feng would have owed him. But the Thunder Ancestor had been arrogant. You want me to kill my subordinates? What do you take me for? In the end, Luo Feng could only act himself. He'd killed one. One had escaped. He collected the God Emperor realm treasures left behind, a little regretful that he hadn't been able to finish off both. Deep in the Sky Pillar world, god kings of the two great ancient kingdoms, royal families, watched in stunned silence. The Galaxy Lord, forcing his way through their formations, had drawn attention from other deep-lying god kings. By law, emperors and lords stationed deep in the Sky Pillar world required invaders be repelled, but now the royal families only watched as the Galaxy Lord struck. Within moments, neither family dared intervene. "In the blink of an eye, two lords dead?" one whispered. "Lord Baimo is completely gone. His karma's vanished. He didn't even have time to reincarnate," another answered. Lan Duo had many clones, but now only the one hiding on Thunder Mountain remains. They were shaken. When the Galaxy Lord had killed Emperor Yuan, it had still taken 2 to 3 breaths, giving time to reincarnate. This time, there'd been none of that. They were foolish. They knew the Galaxy Lord hates evil, yet they pillaged as they pleased. Now this is the result. From now on, never provoke the Galaxy Lord. The two royal families immediately placed the Galaxy Lord on the same fearful footing as the two nations' forefathers, an existence not to be offended, not even with a careless word. They quickly reported the incident. God kings in other corners of the origin continent received word and the recorded battle as well. At the Sky Pillar world's entrance, Luo Feng stood guard. "Luo He! Luo He!" Master Di Chu's voice transmitted. "Master," Luo Feng answered. The Galaxy Lord burst into the Sky Pillar world and instantaneously killed Lord Baimo. Lord Lan Duo was struck too. Only his Thunder Mountain clone remains. "Did you see it clearly?" Di Chu asked. "I saw it very clearly. The battle took place not far from the entrance. The Galaxy Lord is still there," Luo Feng replied. "You must not interfere." Di Chu's voice tightened. "You're only a town defender. These levels of existence are beyond you." "I understand," Luo Feng replied. "You don't understand how terrifying the two nations' forefathers are," Di Chu warned. "Do not show the slightest disrespect, not even in your look. One trace of disrespect," he paused, voice serious, "could bring catastrophe. No one on the origin continent could save you." Luo Feng felt his master's concern. He stood near the edge of the battlefield and replied calmly, "Don't worry, master. I think the Galaxy Ancestor detests evil. He shouldn't implicate the innocent." "Don't assume." Lord Baimo and Lord Lan Duo also assumed the Thunder Ancestor wouldn't punish their plundering. "Look where that got them," Di Chu reminded. When dealing with beings at the level of the two nations' forefathers or the Galaxy Lord, never gamble on their benevolence. Luo Feng smiled inwardly. "Don't worry, master. I understand." He kept his identity hidden to protect his master and the human powerhouses, giving them room to grow while he acted with fewer restraints. Killing an emperor in 2 or 3 breaths differed fundamentally from killing one instantly. This time he'd killed a lord outright, evidence to those watching that no matter how powerful your background, the Galaxy Lord was merciless. Sacred Land, Thunder Mountain. Inside one of the palaces, Lord Lan Duo's residence, the injured lord sat cross-legged. His blue-white scales were cracked, blood seeping from fissures. He stared blankly outward. "All my clones out there? Gone?" He muttered in disbelief. This Thunder Mountain clone had endured Luo Feng's curse-killing and karmic entanglement and survived, but all external clones had been annihilated. The realization chilled him. So this is the Galaxy Lord's strength. He was both stunned and frightened. He'd also lost 2 secret treasures in this voyage, spoils the Galaxy Lord had taken. This expedition into the Sky Pillar world had been a forced order from the Thunder Ancestor. Lord Lan Duo's clone had carried 2 God Emperor Realm secret treasures. Now they were gone. He steadied himself. Losing a few clones and 2 treasures was acceptable, better than Baimo's total annihilation. Baimo is completely dead, he thought. In front of the Galaxy Lord's 2 swift moves, he had no time to reincarnate. "Lan Duo, come quickly to pay respects to the ancestor," Lord Lei Shao transmitted. "I'm coming now," Lord Lan Duo answered and immediately rushed out. Chapter 263, Ultimate Life Form. In the secret, sprawling world of Thunder Mountain, on an endless plain, Thunder Ancestor sat cross-legged, idly examining a golden finger bone. He sensed the lords arriving to pay their respects. "What's going on?" he thought, and immediately followed the karma and space-time traces to investigate. It didn't take long for him to learn of the clash that had broken out in Sky Pillar World. What insolence! Thunder Ancestor erupted. I already gave him face by punishing Bai Mo and Lan Duo, but he still isn't satisfied. He even took matters into his own hands. He clearly doesn't respect me. Thunder Ancestor's fury flared. Beyond the source world, dangers lurked everywhere. Countless powerful beings roamed, so he always kept himself cautious and restrained when he went out. But inside the origin continent, he could be ruthless. No one there could so much as harm a hair on his head. The more he had to endure outside, the less he would tolerate any defiance at home. If one of his subordinate lords dared to talk back, they would be ashes in an instant. Luo Feng had already sent word urging him to act. Even knowing Galaxy Lord's methods were strange and unpredictable, Thunder Ancestor refused to be entirely dictated to. Within the origin continent, he would act to satisfy himself. Perhaps only Yan Feng Ancestor could temper his anger. A junior who has never left the source world dares to be so presumptuous in front of me? Let's see where his confidence comes from. With that, Thunder Ancestor broke out of the secret realm. Boom! Almost at once, a violent, endless thunder descended on the capital of Galaxy God Country. Countless thunder serpents slithered outward, their power spreading until the capital and surrounding plains were swallowed in roaring stormlight. "Galaxy, come out!" A furious voice thundered across the 9 heavens, making every living thing in the capital and beyond tremble. Ancestor has made his move. It's Ancestor. The lords on Thunder Mountain had intended to report to their ancestor, but the disturbance centered on the galaxy capital was too tremendous. Every god king across the origin continent felt the shock. Ancestor has finally stepped in. Lord Lan Duo watched with anticipation. He must suppress that arrogant Galaxy Lord. Galaxy Lord had been overbearing, consuming lives recklessly, not just those of Galaxy God Country, but also many from Thunder Ancient Country. In a remote region of the origin continent known as the East Extremity Domain, a stately woman in green observed with a world-like bearing. She was the East Extremity Domain Ancestor, an ultimate realm cultivator who had progressed to the God Emperor stage through the Life Origin Great Path. Because her lineage had fragmented across eras, her protection over local life was only partial. "Yan Feng acts cautiously, while Thunder is violent and hot-headed," she murmured. "Galaxy Lord killed Emperor Yuan, and Yan Feng Ancestor tolerated it, but he killed Lord Bai Mo, and Thunder cannot stand for that. This conflict will be hard to resolve," she added. Di Qing watched from afar as well. Galaxy Old Brother hates wickedness as if it were his own. He didn't even give Thunder Ancestor face. Di Qing shook his head. Thunder Ancestor is hot-tempered. Perhaps their clash is for the best. He thought that if Galaxy Lord continued to act so forcefully, he would suffer outside the source world later. Better to take a small loss now within the origin continent. Conflicts here would not cause catastrophic consequences. Thunder Ancestor is at the peak God Emperor stage, and his Hunyuan bloodline has been developed to an alarming degree. His realm far exceeds Galaxy Old Brother's, Di Qing reflected. Even if Galaxy Lord relied on an extraordinary treasure, he still couldn't defeat Thunder Ancestor. Di Qing remembered his own previous duel with Galaxy and knew all too well that Galaxy Lord's realm lagged behind. His earlier victory had owed much to that 9-story pagoda treasure. On the origin continent, everyone, East Extremity Domain Ancestor, Di Qing, Yan Feng Ancestor, and other high existences, as well as ordinary god kings, watched the confrontation with rapt attention. In Huyang City, Origin Ancestor gazed toward the galaxy capital, worried. Has Luo Feng already come to blows with Thunder Ancestor? Zuo Shanqi peered anxiously through a secret mirror. Thunder Ancestor is one of the 2 nations' forefathers, a truly invincible being. Inside the galaxy capital's palace, Luo Feng had expected Thunder Ancestor might react after he killed Bai Mo. He had been waiting calmly. The thunderstorm above the city was terrifying. Every bolt could suppress a sovereign-level emperor. "Galaxy, come out!" Thunder Ancestor's thunderous voice rang with fury. A cold voice answered, and only an immense, illusory head appeared. Vaguely beast-like, its enormous maw unhurriedly swallowing the endless thunderbolts. East Extremity Domain Ancestor, Di Qing, and Yan Feng Ancestor flinched. Thunder Ancestors naturally carried Thunder Domain, overflowing with power that reached the origin continent's upper limit, had been absorbed whole. At that moment, Luo Feng rose above the capital. Silver scales and a golden mask cloaked him. Merely standing there, he released an immense, terrifying aura. Within that aura, a vast illusory life form took shape. Yanfeng Ancestor watched and nodded, impressed. What a powerful life form. Just his aura reaches the Origin Continent's power ceiling. His body alone must be at least God Emperor early. On the Origin Continent, the ceiling of raw power corresponded to the God Emperor threshold. For Luo Feng's aura to touch that ceiling implied a truly formidable physique. Di Qing, surprised, said, "Galaxy Old Brother hasn't left the source world. He cultivated only inside the Origin Continent and yet developed his physical body to this level." Thunder Ancestor frowned. He hadn't cared that his Thunder domain was swallowed. The method used to devour it concerned him. A junior with a physical body, at least God Emperor? Early, he mused. Cultivating the physical body to God Emperor level was difficult within the confined environment of the Origin Continent. Once achieved, such a body was nearly invulnerable there. This junior's talent is extraordinary. Without venturing beyond the source world, he buried himself in cultivation and already brought his physique to God Emperor early. Thunder Ancestor's calculations shifted. Previously, Galaxy Lord's ability to peer into Thunder Mountain's secret space had suggested a powerful treasure. Sometimes a lucky opportunity could produce a notable fighter, but that didn't make them a top-tier powerhouse. Yet a cultivator who had strengthened his body to God Emperor early, purely within the Origin Continent, was another matter entirely. Thunder Ancestor, Di Qing, Yanfeng Ancestor, East Extremity Domain Ancestor, and other God Emperors all understood the implications. Once he breaks out of the source world and gains wider access to information, he will likely ascend rapidly, Thunder Ancestor thought. He, who had learned restraint outside the source world, changed his attitude. I can tolerate Yanfeng. I can tolerate this galaxy too. With that, his anger cooled into a different strategy. Still maintaining an austere demeanor, Thunder Ancestor said, Bai Mo and Lan Duo devoured countless lives, and you reported them to me. I punished them and sent them to Sky Pillar World to atone. This time you didn't inform me and killed them outright? Isn't that disrespectful? Luo Feng was taken aback. The thunderous, rage-filled ancestor was now arguing calmly, an unexpected turn. He reflected on the situation. In terms of raw corporeal strength, he was clearly inferior to Thunder Ancestor. Before obtaining the Eye of Creation and Destruction, he had already comprehended 4 ultimate realm life forms in the Great Tao of Life. After acquiring the Eye, his understanding deepened, and he grasped 3 more. He had also obtained corpse materials from 3 ultimate realm Hunyuan bloodline creatures, whose phases numbered 6, 7, and 10, respectively. The 7-phase form Luo Feng comprehended included the 6 phases of the multi-hoofed creature, on which he had concentrated the most effort. By combining those 6 phases, 24 phase, Myriad Beings phase, Origin phase, Great Strength phase, 4 Directions phase, and 100 Spirits phase, with the corpse material, his world life form evolved from the 24 phase form into the true ultimate realm Hunyuan body form, the multi-hoofed creature. In terms of spirit will, Luo Feng far exceeded that Hunyuan creature, so his body was larger and his realm higher. He could unify and mobilize the power inside more perfectly. Luo Feng's current life form was indeed an ultimate realm life form, stronger than most ultimate realm entities and even surpassing the physical bodies of many ultimate realm Hunyuan bloodline beings. Still, he understood the gap between his body and Thunder Ancestors. My stance toward great sinners has always been clear, Luo Feng said. The whole Origin Continent knows it. Bai Mo and Lan Duo plundered despite knowing my temper. They didn't respect me. They deserved to die. Gentlemen, do not be angry. A hearty laugh interrupted, and a burly man broke through the air, stepping between them. We are all cultivators of the Origin Continent. In the future, we must support one another and advance together. Why raise such tempers over a petty matter? Chapter 264, Gambling War. Luo Feng had long used his Eye of Creation and Destruction to scan the entire Origin Continent, so he recognized the burly man at a glance. If the Thunder Ancestor was the most fearsome physical powerhouse on the continent, then this burly figure was the most inscrutable. Luo Feng could only perceive fragments of him. Yanfeng Ancestor, Luo Feng greeted. Ha ha ha, another formidable cultivator has arisen from our origin continent. Yanfeng ancestor laughed, then glanced at the Thunder ancestor. Thunder, this is hardly worth getting so worked up over. Compared to the matters beyond the source world, this is trivial, the Thunder ancestor replied as he fixed his gaze on Luo Feng. Baimo's death is one thing, but what bothers me is that the Galaxy Lord doesn't even take me seriously. Despite the softened tone, the Thunder ancestor still needed to save face. If he didn't consider you worth noting, he wouldn't have sent you a message to handle this, Yanfeng ancestor chuckled. Baimo and Lord Landuo acted arrogantly and provoked the Galaxy Lord. Their deaths are deserved. Humph, the Thunder ancestor snorted. I'll give you face this time, Yanfeng, and won't press the matter. But from now on, Galaxy Lord, you mustn't interfere with affairs inside the Thunder Ancient Country. I can ignore internal matters of the Thunder Ancient Country, Luo Feng said calmly. The Thunder ancestor bristled. If their god kings make mistakes, I still have to be the one to punish them. He was blunt and clear. The god kings of the Thunder Ancient Country's royal family were bound to cause trouble across neighboring territories. Your punishment is too light, Luo Feng shook his head. Galaxy, don't claim your strength is inferior to ours, the Thunder ancestor scowled. Even if you eventually reach the perfect God Emperor level and match us, we all must make compromises. You cannot alone set the rules for the origin continent. Yanfeng ancestor chimed in from the side. All our powers exceed the origin continent's limits. None of us can truly harm the others. This is our homeland. We shouldn't have a major conflict here. By the old rules, each of us gives a little. We set the rules together, and everyone abides. Of course, I'm too indifferent to fuss over the affairs of other kingdoms, Luo Feng admitted. I'd rather not be entangled in vendettas, but there's one thing I can't tolerate: great sinners who devour billions of lives. If such a being exists, I will kill them. I hope the two nations' forefathers will agree to that rule. Great sinners who devour billions of lives? Yanfeng ancestor showed little concern. He valued Tao comprehension and guiding younger generations, and cultivating Hunyuan bloodlines was comparatively easier. Hence, some royal family members had become god emperors. Cultivators follow different paths, he said. The Thunder ancestor was less pleased. Powerful beings devouring the weak is normal. Even if someone devoured billions, Senior Yuan did not interfere. Why should you meddle? Luo Feng shook his head. This source world, the origin continent, is my homeland. If I can govern it, I naturally will. The Thunder ancestors studied Luo Feng. At their level, each had their own spiritual outlook. The Thunder ancestor had never treated mass devouring as a grave problem. On the path of cultivation, he had seen worse. I admit, the Thunder ancestor said slowly, with your strength you are qualified to set rules on the origin continent. Few could escape your pursuit. If the Thunder ancestor insists on protecting some great sinner, there's little I can do, Luo Feng replied. Even without the Thunder ancestor intervening, the Thunder Mountain Holy Land's built-in power would have been enough to stop him from killing Lord Landuo. Luo Feng knew the greatest sinners on the continent were the god emperors and lords of the royal families of the two great ancient kingdoms. To establish a new rule, he needed the agreement of the two nations' forefathers. If they sided with their royals, Luo Feng's influence would be limited. Perhaps the origin continent needs some change, Yanfeng ancestor said with a smile. The Thunder ancestor's expression hardened. If you won't budge, then we follow the old rule, a wagered battle. If I win, you must never interfere with the Thunder Ancient Country, its royal family included. If I lose, I will agree to your rule, to eliminate all great sinners. If both forefathers agreed, it would be as binding as a heavenly decree on the origin continent. A wagered battle? Luo Feng looked at the Thunder ancestor. Thunder, how long have you cultivated, and how long has the Galaxy Lord cultivated? Yanfeng ancestor asked beside them. I've cultivated for many eras, and he has powerful secret treasures, the Thunder ancestor said. Even under the origin continent's power limits, he still has a slight chance. Yanfeng ancestor shook his head. The Thunder ancestor was at an exceedingly high realm, far beyond the Galaxy Lord. The old rule stands: if persuasion fails, wage a battle, but the gap between you two is vast. Even with secret treasures, your odds are extremely low. If persuasion fails, then I accept the wagered battle, Luo Feng agreed. Di Qing was more straightforward than the Thunder Ancestor. This fight, under the power limitations, would allow Luo Feng to observe his opponent's methods more closely and gain experience. Ha ha ha! Win or lose, I admire you already. The Thunder Ancestor laughed. Let's go to the Universe C for the wagered battle, Yan Feng Ancestor proposed. It's not appropriate for everyone on the Origin continent to watch. Their identities were such that they could easily conceal the duel from lesser beings. The God Kings wouldn't be able to peer in if they didn't want them to. With that, the Thunder Ancestor, Yan Feng Ancestor, and Luo Feng left the sky above the Galaxy God Country and arrived in the vast Universe Sea beyond the Origin continent's rim. Whoosh! 2 more figures appeared, a dignified woman in green and Di Qing. Galaxy Lord, this is the Eastern Domain Ancestor, Feng Shi, Di Qing introduced. Galaxy, the Eastern Domain Ancestor smiled. Feng Shi, Luo Feng returned the smile and nodded. His eye of creation and destruction had already discerned some of her methods. In terms of life form, she was roughly 50% stronger than Luo Feng at that moment. Physically, she had reached God Emperor, early stage, not including other techniques she possessed. Our Origin continent finally has 5 God Emperor level cultivators, Yan Feng Ancestor sighed. It was indeed rare for a source world to produce so many at once. Luo Feng felt a deep kinship. No matter what, the 5 of them came from the same source world. Outside the source world, the most trustworthy people were their own. The wagered battle between the Galaxy Lord and the Thunder Ancestor is rare, Feng Shi said with a faint smile. Realm-wise, she was inferior to the 2 forefathers. At a distance, Yan Feng Ancestor, Di Qing, and Feng Shi watched. An invisible domain was set up, isolating a vast region. All beings within the Origin continent, including the 3 foreign races, could not peer into the duel. Luo Feng and the Thunder Ancestor faced one another. Galaxy, the Thunder Ancestor said in a leisurely tone, I cultivated beyond the source world for many eras, attempting multiple systems at once. I forcibly elevated my Hunyuan bloodline within the cage to the semi-primordial origin level. Even under the Origin continent's power limits, they cannot constrain techniques and methods. I have never been outside the source world, Luo Feng replied. Thunder Ancestor, please use your full strength. I want to learn. Good. The Thunder Ancestor nodded. He lifted a finger and produced a single drop of blood drop, the essence of a God Emperor perfect level warrior. It split instantly into 9 creatures. Each of these 9 reached the power ceiling allowed on the Origin continent. They stared at Luo Feng and began to speak in eerie unison. Ha ha! All must die! All must die! Luo Feng's eye of creation and destruction opened between his brows. Under its sight, the 9 creatures showed entirely different compositions. Some formed of thunder, some of flame, some illusory, some soul-based, some made of dark winds. The variety stunned him, though the supreme rule invisibly suppressed their full might within the Origin continent. You can't resist, a fire-formed creature taunted, then vanished. Flames erupted over Luo Feng's body, burning through his basic life units. Fortunately, he had now cultivated the multi-hoofed claw creature form world life form. Had he remained a 24-phase form world life form, his life form would have sustained immediate severe damage. Boom, thunder struck, leaving marks across him. Ha ha! Die, die! A soul creature cackled within Luo Feng's mind. But Luo Feng's spiritual will had reached the Origin continent's upper limits. With Li Yuan art, he fully resisted that soul attack. Whoosh! A wind brushed Luo Feng, seeping into every crevice of his body and basic life units. Blood-colored flowers sprouted on him, drawing his physical strength to try and bloom. 9 methods descended at once. Luo Feng could not dodge them all. He could only endure. With the Origin continent's limits, my secret art shows only a fraction of its true power. It's already impressive that you can block it, the Thunder Ancestor remarked calmly. But while you resist my secret art, how much strength can you still exert? Luo Feng nodded. Resisting every assault left him able to devote only 2 or 3/10 of his mind to offense. Impressive, very impressive, the Thunder Ancestor admitted. Whoosh! A 9-story illusory pagoda appeared, enveloping Luo Feng and intercepting all attacks aimed at his body, soul, and mind. Within the confines of the Origin continent, nothing could penetrate the Star Tower's shelter to harm him. Luo Feng felt helpless. Under the erosion and interference of those 9 strange powers, he could hardly exert any real strength. Without using his secret treasure, he had no chance of winning his wager with the Thunder Ancestor. With the Star Tower protecting him, he could deal with his opponent more safely, but hiding inside the tower and never counterattacking would still count as a loss. He had to gain the upper hand in direct combat to win. "Is that the 9-story tower?" Thunder Ancestor asked. He knew about Luo Feng's earlier clash with Di Qing and had learned of the 9-story tower's existence. "In this wager, if I rely only on my cultivation, I stand almost no chance," Luo Feng admitted. "Be careful," Thunder Ancestor chuckled. "I've cultivated several eras longer than you. This is me bullying the younger generation. Use whatever secret treasures you must. If you gain even a slight advantage, I lose." Luo Feng's body rippled and condensed into an endless river of blood. The basic life unit composing that river still took the form of many-hoofed creatures, but their exterior had become a flowing tide of crimson. The blood river surged and enveloped Thunder Ancestor. Thunder Ancestor frowned when he felt the torrent. The blood river was unbearably heavy, forming a spatial cage to trap him. It also tried to infiltrate and crush his body. But he stood unmoved, an invisible power skating over his surface, his form intact, impenetrable. Luo Feng had once suppressed the combined might of 8 emperors by himself. Since then, his basic life form pattern had progressed from the 24-phase form to the many-hoofed creature pattern. His realm had grown significantly. "A little interesting," Thunder Ancestor murmured and reached out as if stirring a pool. The blood river shuddered and began to rupture in violent bursts. "Go!" Luo Feng released the Star Tower and unleashed a killing move. After obtaining the Eye of Creation and Destruction and understanding the 12-hued scarlet scales within the tower, he had finally comprehended the 9-branch secret art of the life and destruction great path, Meteor. With the Star Tower's secret patterns, he could elevate the technique into something terrifying. The Star Tower shot across the universe sea like a meteor. Both Thunder Ancestor and Yan Feng Ancestor, watching from a distance, were stunned. Time seemed to stand still as space parted. The tower became indestructible in that instant. Thunder Ancestor could not avoid it. Even as he perceived the meteor, the strike had already simultaneously arrived. Thunder Ancestor staggered back as the blow landed, kneeling as if overwhelmed. The Supreme Rule's power limits acted like locks, constraining his strength, and the Star Tower's power was likewise restrained. Yet under equal conditions, the tower had repelled him. A super-powerful secret treasure, top tier, Thunder Ancestor realized. It froze time, split space, and condensed matter to the extreme. It must be a precious treasure refined by Senior Yuan and the others. Yan Feng Ancestor judged the same. With such a realm gap, for him to repel Thunder Ancestor with a treasure, it must be worth over 100,000 reward points in the infinite space. Thunder Ancestor laughed, and Thunder condensed into 8 avatar figures. The 9 Thunder Ancestors formed a grand array. Their array suppressed multiple great paths, time, space, matter, life. And beneath its pressure, Luo Feng's blood river quieted. Only the Star Tower kept charging like a meteor, tearing through the array again and again to strike Thunder Ancestor's true body and avatars. But the array's suppression had already reduced the tower's power enormously. The 9 Ancestors forced Thunder to use a secret treasure, Yan Feng Ancestor remarked, surprised. Thunder Ancestor was a half-primordial origin life. In theory, he should have suppressed this Galaxy Lord even without treasures. That he had to deploy a secret treasure showed just how unusual that 9-story tower was. Thunder Ancestor frowned with a hint of covetousness at the tower. He knew Galaxy Lord would never let such a treasure leave the origin continent, yet he desired it all the same. He hurled out an ancient stone pillar. It became the core of the array, enhancing the 9 Ancestors' formation and tightening their suppression over time, space, matter, and life. Under that pressure, Luo Feng himself was nearly pinned down. The Star Tower continued to charge, but had been swallowed by the array and could not reach Thunder Ancestor. Galaxy Lord actually forced Thunder to use a secret treasure, Di Qing observed. Impressive, but not enough. The difference between them is too great. Galaxy Lord, do you have any other moves? Thunder Ancestor asked. If not, admit defeat. The blood river converged, and Luo Feng stood, eyes fixed on Thunder Ancestor with a new resolve. Your realm is far higher than mine. I must use a forbidden move. Thunder Ancestor laughed. Use whatever forbidden move you have. Luo Feng slipped inside the star tower. The eye of creation and destruction on his brow opened. Looking into the 12-colored scarlet scales, he saw no obvious destructive weak points, only immense, perfect strength. Yet he could spot where the scarlet scale's vitality was strongest. Over the long years of experiments and attempts, he had discovered that with the eye of creation and destruction, he could mobilize a truly fearsome trace of power from those scales. He activated the deep secret patterns of the tower, patterns he had never before understood. A scarlet trace extended from the 12-hued scales and began to infect the entire star tower. The tower turned crimson. Thunder Ancestor and Yanfeng Ancestor watched the color change and felt a subtle suppressing pressure. Some treasures over 100,000 reward points are refined with world-level Hunyuan life or even Hunyuan Ancestor corpse materials, Thunder Ancestor said in a low voice. This tower must be akin to those, something terrifying even beyond a cage. Go, the Scarlet Star Tower streaked through the universe sea again. This time, it pierced everything, space-time and the arrays themselves, until it struck Thunder Ancestor's true body. He flew backward. Thunder Ancestor could not hold back. He drew out his most powerful formation, the Thunder World 10 Absolute Array. As a cultivator of the Source World, if an avatar outside is destroyed, he can send another. Thunder Ancestor kept many of his greatest treasures in the Source World. He now unleashed the 10 Absolute Array in full. 10 Thunder figures formed, each controlling a vast array. Together they fused into the Thunder World, an operating system designed to suppress all Dome powers. The Scarlet Star Tower still forced its way through. Luo Feng frowned. The 10 Absolute Array was like a labyrinth. The tower tore from one formation to another and still could not touch Thunder Ancestor. The realm difference was overwhelming. Luo Feng focused the eye of creation and destruction on the Thunder World. Under its gaze, the structure of space-time, the energy operations, the way the 10 arrays interlocked, everything became clear. Dozens of operational weaknesses revealed themselves. As the array moved, those weak points shifted. With a thought, the Star Tower followed those subtle faults, slipping through space's seams and striking Thunder Ancestor hidden deep within the Thunder World. Thunder Ancestor staggered. He could not believe how Luo Feng had found him. This array had been refined by a half-primordial origin-level Dao comprehension. It should not have been so easily breached. He darted and hid in another place in the Thunder World, but the Star Tower pursued. It found another weakness and struck again and again, once, twice, 3 times. Under the origin continent's power limits, no one could truly annihilate another, so the wager was about gaining the upper hand. Now the outcome was clear. I lost, Thunder Ancestor said, dispelling the array. He looked at Luo Feng with complicated emotion, surprised, resentful, and begrudging respect. He had said Galaxy Lord had only a slim chance, but he had not expected to actually lose. A junior who hasn't left the Source World can force me to use a secret treasure? Thunder Ancestor's tone was uneasy. Luo Feng replied calmly, on the origin continent, power limits mean I can only gain a slight advantage against you. Outside, I don't know if I could even resist. Thunder Ancestor shook his head lightly. If you won, you won. I can afford to lose. Landuo, I will deal with her myself. With that, he stepped away and left. Chapter 266. Rule Yanfeng Ancestor, Di Qing, and the East Extremity Domain Ancestor. Feng Shi lingered nearby, but Thunder Ancestor left alone. Everyone could tell he was in a foul mood. Luo Feng felt no pride in his victory. Instead, he became even more sober about how vast the gap still was between him and the powerhouses beyond the Source World. With the origin continent's power restriction in place, he had only gained a narrow edge by relying on 2 extraordinary cultivation treasures. Outside the origin continent, those treasures could not be taken, and he would have to depend on his own strength. Galaxy old brother, Di Qing said with a smile, I really didn't expect you to win that wagered duel. It surprised us all. Yanfeng Ancestor watched Luo Feng from the side, equally surprised. He knew well that above the God King realm, there were 4 grades, and the gulf between the first, God Emperor, early stage, and the 4th, God Emperor, perfected stage, was enormous. Even with power limits, the difference in realm was huge. Super powerful secret treasures were special, but Yan Feng and the others had seen such things before. He considered that Luo Feng might be one of those rare, dazzling existences even among the myriad worlds. Galaxy, now that you've won this wagered duel, the Origin Continent will have one more rule. Those who have committed great sins will be executed. The East Extremity Domain ancestor said with a pleased smile. She was the most benevolent among the God Emperors. Though she had no blood ties to the Origin Continent's indigenous lives, she was willing to protect them. Luo Feng felt grateful. If he hadn't obtained the Eye of Creation and Destruction in the Star Tower, he would never have defeated Thunder Ancestor under the power restriction. If you ever have time, you should visit the East Extremity Domain, Feng Shi added. Certainly, Luo Feng nodded. Galaxy, Yan Feng Ancestor said. How about visiting my Yan Feng Ancient Kingdom? All right, Luo Feng accepted. As a guest elder of the Yan Feng Ancient Kingdom, he had received inheritances when he was weak, access to the infinite space treasure trove, and help from his master Di Chu. Yan Feng had shown him kindness. They sat on a grand mountain in the Yan Feng Ancient Kingdom. Di Qing, Yan Feng, and Luo Feng, served by puppet lives with delicious food and wine. This is where I usually seclude myself, Yan Feng said, gesturing to the endless peaks. Besides me, there are only puppets. I cherish the quiet. Yan Feng smiled at Luo Feng. Galaxy, once you go beyond the source world, you'll come to appreciate these peaceful days in the Origin Continent. Luo Feng was used to the Origin Continent's calm. Here, no one could threaten him. Yan Feng's expression turned serious. Outside the source world, even when you hide in a cave to cultivate, some very special low-level Hunyuan life might infiltrate your refuge and strike without warning. Death can come at any moment. Those of us from the source world are lucky. At least we can cultivate clones, leaving one piece of ourselves behind in the source world. The powerhouses who rose in the myriad worlds don't have clone techniques. Their situation is even more precarious. For survival, they resort to everything. Di Qing nodded. Outside the source world, our main enemies are low-level Hunyuan life, but we also face attacks from other cultivators. They can't clone themselves, so they're more likely to go to extremes, Luo Feng reflected. Yan Feng explained the two major categories within the cage. One group are beings conceived naturally in the source world. The source world itself is vast and contains the supreme rule. The other group are the myriad worlds created by Senior Yuan and his peers. Many of the beings in those worlds are born with Hunyuan bloodlines, which makes cultivation much easier for them. Born with Hunyuan bloodlines? Luo Feng's interest piqued. Exactly, Yan Feng said. The low-intelligence Hunyuan creatures I cultivated are crude, but Senior Yuan and the others were able to integrate Hunyuan bloodlines into intelligent beings, beings with sufficient comprehension and the assistance of those bloodlines. As a result, cultivators from the myriad worlds often dominate outside the source world. Our starting point is lower. We're typically true gods at birth, and cultivation is much harder than for those born with Hunyuan bloodlines. But we have greater potential and can develop clone techniques, Yan Feng continued. Luo Feng now understood the broad split: naturally conceived beings of the source world versus the myriad world's creations. Outside the source world, you can find many cultivation systems, hunt many kinds of Hunyuan life, and deal with powerhouses from the myriad worlds. It's easier to advance quickly in the dark. But for true treasures, competition is brutal. Our best chance to obtain treasures remains inside the Origin Continent. Di Qing agreed. Especially the special life remains. Luo Feng asked, those still exist? Yan Feng nodded. The dark region of the Dream Domain and the depths of the Sky Pillar world each contain a portion of special life remains, but each area only allows one portion per being. One portion only? Luo Feng hadn't known that. For example, if you enter the Dream Domain's dark region and manage to obtain a portion of the special life remains, you'll be immediately expelled and can't enter again. Senior Yuan set that rule, so combining both places, a single being can obtain at most 2 portions of special life remains. At the God Emperor realm, it's still relatively easy to obtain them, and these are our most important treasures, Yan Feng said. Skyborn mixed-source secret treasures and secret techniques are more a matter of luck. Don't sell special life remains lightly. If you insist on selling, consult me. I can offer a generous price, he warned. Luo Feng thanked him and asked what the remains were. The Dream Domain's remains are likely the corpse of a very special world-level Hunyuan life, whose body serves as the foundation for countless Dream Domain spaces. The Sky Pillar world's remains are also from a world-level Hunyuan life. A world-level Hunyuan life's corpse is vast. Even a small piece of flesh, scale, or hair can be divided into hundreds of millions of portions. Senior Yuan hid these remains in the deepest places. With enough strength, one can hope to get them. Within the origin continent, these two treasure lands are the most valuable. Other treasure lands pale in comparison. Infinite space is special too. It connects many source worlds, but you can only send a wisp of consciousness in, not your true body, unless you obtain a rare opportunity. Luo Feng realized how many world-level confrontations Senior Yuan and the others must have fought. Yan Feng's tone darkened. Our greatest crisis is the Skyborn mixed source life attacking the origin continent. If it ever devours us, we're finished. Does that happen often? Luo Feng asked. Quite often, Yan Feng admitted. In the struggle between our cultivator camp and the eternal origin life camp, we're at a disadvantage. Not long ago, a critical world cluster, the Beiguo world cluster, used for cultivating god emperors, suddenly went silent, likely fallen. The god emperors cultivated in those myriad worlds vanished. Several source worlds around the cluster are probably gone too. Outside the cage, opportunities and resources were abundant, but the environment was brutal. The cultivator camp needed more cultivators to break out of the cage and join the larger war. Yan Feng and Di Qing shared these secrets with Luo Feng to help him on his path. Di Qing then sent Luo Feng an intelligence report, data on the Dream Domain's dark region and the depths of the Sky Pillar world. The Dream Domain's dark region is ever-changing. Use this intel as reference. The Sky Pillar world's depths are stable. Study those carefully. First priority, acquire the special life remains from these two locations. Luo Feng accepted the guidance gratefully. On Thunder Mountain, Lord Lan Duo brooded in his cave dwelling. Ancestor had personally gone to confront the Galaxy Lord, even engaged in a great battle in the Universe C region. Lan Duo hadn't observed the fight, but he trusted his ancestor. Surely the Galaxy Lord had suffered losses and might change his attitude and stop interfering with Lan Duo's plundering. Then suddenly a cold snort echoed in his mind. A terror of thunder exploded in his soul, thunder so violent it could annihilate a soul. This was the terrifying aspect of the Hunyuan bloodline. One could tap innate bloodline power beyond mastery of the soul path. When Luo Feng had faced Thunder Ancestor, he'd been hit on physical, soul, and mental levels. Luo Feng had stood firm, but without the protection of Thunder Mountain, Lan Duo could not. "Ancestor!" he cried, but the consciousness that knew who struck him was obliterated in an instant. Thunder Ancestor's decree resonated through the consciousness of every lord in the ancient kingdoms. From now on, those with great sins who devour myriad beings on the origin continent shall be executed. Bai Mo and Lan Duo were struck down that day, and with the orders issued by Thunder Ancestor and Yan Feng Ancestor, the entire origin continent erupted in uproar. Every force realized the rules had changed. An additional absolute law had been declared. From imperial monarchs to lords and ultimate realm cultivators, no one could ignore it. Chapter 267, 500 Years in Huyang City. On a high floor of the city lord's mansion, Luo Feng drank alone and brooded. 9 Rivers Sacred World? He murmured. The meeting with Yan Feng Ancestor and Di Qing had revealed a lot. Once one reached the ultimate realm, there was a teleportation passage in that realm that could send one off the origin continent. Though without a precise coordinate, you arrived at a random destination. The world Di Qing came from was called the 9 Rivers Sacred World, a place where many source world powerhouses and countless other strong cultivators gathered. Di Qing's there. To even get in, you need to be at least an ultimate realm life form. Some can reach half-primordial origin levels. Luo Feng thought. Yan Feng Ancestor is in the Dark Sacred World. The entry bar there is even higher. Yan Feng Ancestor and Thunder Ancestor barely exceed it. Resources there must be far greater than in the 9 Rivers. Luo Feng was still too far from those thresholds. At best, his Tao comprehension might hope to enter in the late God-Emperor stage. Whether it's the Nine Rivers, the Dark Sacred World, or somewhere else, those seniors are cultivating above us, he told himself. Without the Star Tower and the Eye of Creation and Destruction, his strength was still lacking. He opened the Eye of Creation and Destruction between his brows and trained it toward the Dream Domain. Apart from the infinite space, outside the origin continent, he could observe all the other treasure lands. The eye's perception pierced layers of spatial barriers and reached the core of the dark region. Normally, only mental consciousness could access the dark region, but the eye showed it plainly. The dream domain was a giant sphere filled with countless bubbles, each an independent space. The outermost layer had the most spaces, the middle layer fewer, the deep layer even fewer, and at the center the dark region contained only one space. That core space was incredibly stable. Black metal ground etched with secret patterns, trees of interwoven metal, rivers that flowed with light. The weakest beings there were emperor or monarch level. The strongest approached the origin continent's upper limits. Seeing their clashes, Luo Feng's expression darkened. Even with the eye and the star tower, I can't just enter, he realized. In some areas, the dream domain's inhabitants were too numerous and powerful. He spotted a region where hundreds of snake-like creatures gathered, each capable of touching the origin continent's peak. Hundreds of them attacking at once would be like facing hundreds of Di-Qings. Even hiding in the Star Tower, I'd be trapped. The Star Tower's power had limits. One against hundreds, no way. Yanfeng Ancestor and Thunder Ancestor arriving wouldn't change that. As he scanned, the eye revealed something else. Vast quantities of special life remains scattered throughout the dark region, in riverbeds, buried under mountains, deep in jungles. Some sites hid tens of thousands of fragments, others lay deep in caverns. All required extensive travel within the dark region to reach. My eye can only see their exterior, not their essence, Luo Feng frowned. It could observe like a high-level origin life, but discerning the true value of special life remains at a glance was impossible. He could only take one, and once he took one, he would be expelled from that realm and could never return. The eye swept over rivers, valleys, underground labyrinths, and compared each cluster carefully. Finally, he focused on a single item, a dark golden horn deep in an underground maze, surrounded by hundreds of similar guardian creatures that seemed to worship it. This is the only horn-type relic in the dark region I've found, he realized. The guardians are powerful. If a life had a single horn like this, it must be extraordinary, likely infused with mental will mysteries. He turned the eye toward the Sky Pillar world next. There, the most conspicuous feature was a river of filthy, contaminated blood, so lethal that even a God King's second realm would die on contact, their clones and souls contaminated. Vast bone mountains riddled with fissures formed labyrinths, and lush vegetation grew fattened and mutated by the filthy blood and the marrow-rich bones. I can see most of the dream domain clearly, he thought, but about 1 or 2/10 of the Sky Pillar world remain obscure. I can't see into the filthy blood river's depths, nor into the deepest parts of the bone mountains or the deep underground. That filthy blood felt like contamination from world-level Hunyuan life. Natural secret treasures supposedly formed within the filthy blood river, the bone mountains and the deep earth, but Luo Feng hadn't seen any of those natural secret treasures. They were well hidden. The Sky Pillar world, however, was filled with remains. The river itself was composed of remains, and every bone mountain was made of the dead. He examined the massive remains and finally selected one spot. The eye revealed 289 bone mountains in total. At the center of the central mountain lay a very long black bone, divided into 9 segments. I should be able to take one of these segments, Luo Feng judged. The Sky Pillar world was guarded by 2 royal lineages, but they dared not interfere with a galaxy lord. He sent out a powerful clone. His physical form alone had God Emperor level strength, and walked deep into the bone range. The pressure grew, but remained within the origin continent's upper limit. He reached the core and touched the 9-segment black bone. An invisible seal transmitted a rule. He could only take one segment. Once he took one, he could never take another special life remnant. He grunted, lifted the bone, its weight staggering, and stored a segment inside his God Emperor-class secret treasure, the water-drop flying shuttle. The Sky Pillar world's remains were relatively easy for him to obtain, given his strength. The dark golden horn in the dream domain, however, proved far more difficult. He tried hundreds of times and failed. His clone's vitality was strong, so the repeated attempts didn't drain him irreparably. Even with remote guidance from the Eye, success eluded him. After more than 200 epochs, relying on the Life and Destruction Great Path's 3 9-branch fusion secret arts, coordinating multiple clones, using distraction tactics, and with the Eye's remote observation for timing, he finally snatched the dark golden horn, buying a window to take it by drawing off the Guardians and holding them at bay. With that, he obtained the 2 most coveted special life remains generally available to God Emperors on the Origin continent. Both treasures were extraordinary. Under the Eye's scrutiny, the horn and the bone segment were full of mysteries. Though each ranked below the Eye of creation and destruction, they were of comparable level, simpler and purer. The horn, Luo Feng discovered, was dominated by patterns of mental will. The black bone segment harbored the secret of indestructibility, how such life growth could be so resistant to destruction. Luo Feng then immersed himself in cultivation. Under the joint command of the Galaxy Lord, Yanfeng Ancestor, and Thunder Ancestor, the great sinners of the Origin continent lost their safe havens. Even those who risked secretly devouring small tribes to advance their cultivation lived in constant worry, because Morosa and his inspectors could find them at any time. Time slipped by. Around 500 epochs had passed since Luo Feng's wager with Thunder Ancestor. In a vast chamber within the Yanfeng ancient kingdom, 11 streams of thought converged and formed the figures of 11 emperors. That guest official Luo He has held the Sky Pillar World Town Defender post for 1,000 epochs, Emperor Yan said. It's time he leaves. No guest official should occupy the Town Defender post consecutively for so long. The Town Defender position of the Sky Pillar world was a coveted assignment for guest officials, usually granted as a reward for obedient service. Luo He holding it for more than 1,000 epochs irked Emperor Yan and the others. An unruly guest official, hoarding the post for a millennium, Emperor Wu said coldly. She had personally threatened Luo He, trying to force him to take another mission, but Di Chu had protected his disciple. Di Chu and she had a blood feud, so she bore particular hostility toward Luo He. Since his terms expired, of course he should be replaced, Di Chu said, casting a casual glance at Emperor Wu and showing no concern. Chapter 268, Finally Comprehending the Great Path. Origin Continent was entering its final stage. In a few billion eras, it would fall into nihility. The emperors and monarchs who could not comprehend the complete Great Path had no choice but to leave Origin Continent before its destruction. As the deadline approached, their scramble for resources grew more blatant. If not for Luo Feng, having pushed the rule, great sinners must die, many god kings on Origin Continent who cultivated Hunyuan bloodlines would have sacrificed billions of lives to prolong themselves. The Sky Pillar World's Town Defender term, held by Luo He, has ended, the presiding emperor consort announced with a smile. We must choose a new guest elder. Recommend whom you will. Although the emperor consort could appoint directly, tradition limited forcible choices for important imperial missions. This time, the consort put the Sky Pillar World mission up for open contention among the emperors. In the end, it fell to Emperor Yan and his allies. Emperor Yan, Emperor Shi, and Emperor Wu had formed a small coalition. With Emperor Yuan already dead, Di Qing absent from the contest, and the presiding consort not intervening, Yan's group had the advantage. Several others, Emperor Yu, Emperor Xuan, Di Feng, Di Chu, and a few more, remained more independent. The next mission is the Heaven and Earth Maze Treasureland Town Defender, the consort continued. One mission after another was assigned. Next, the Fire Prison World Guard. The Fire Prison World breeds Hunyuan bloodline creatures with God King Second Realm strength. To serve there, you must be at least God King Second Realm. Who wants it? I will take the Fire Prison World, Di Chu said. You intend to send your disciple Luo He? Emperor Yan frowned. He just finished the Sky Pillar World duty. Now every good thing goes to him? Our house must observe rules. Guest elders should accumulate merits and labor before receiving favors. Dichu downplayed it. Guarding the fire prison world is just a difficult assignment. Luohe cultivates the great Tao of life, Yan said. The fire prison world's Hunyuan bloodline methods hold many secrets of life. We cannot let him casually probe them. Yan's own ancestor cultivation of Hunyuan life reliably produced God King's second realm strength creatures, rarely an ultimate realm specimen. I'll take it, Emperor Wu announced. I plan to personally serve as guard and study the mysteries of life. When an emperor volunteered, others could not object. Assignments were prioritized by rank, and the emperor's claims prevailed. One by one, the missions were distributed and the emperors departed. Emperor Yan, the consort called, keeping him behind. You're being too hostile toward Luohe. Dichu will take notice. You're making enemies. We already have enmity, Yan said coldly. The alliance of the three emperors and their long-standing hostility to Dichu had already implicated Luo Feng. Resources on Origin Continent are limited, Yan continued. Luo Feng's talent is too great. If we don't suppress him, he'll advance faster and seize what should belong to us. You couldn't tolerate Zongfu before, the consort murmured. Now Luo Feng draws your ire. We leave the source world. We must fight for everything. Yan's eyes were icy. We must strengthen ourselves and eliminate powerful rivals. You risk karmic backlash, the consort warned. Since we plan to fight, are we still afraid of backlash? Yan sneered and left. The consort only sighed inwardly. From long observation, she was almost certain Luo Feng was the Galaxy Lord. Yan's methods were cruel, but he had met a formidable opponent. Over the next eras, Yan and his allies struck repeatedly at several God Kings, even wiping out entire clans. God King Zongfu, God King Gu, and others were haunted by killing intent. Most had already lost their loved ones. Luo Feng had risen too fast without revealing obvious trump cards, which kept Yan and his allies cautious. At the Sky Pillar world, Luo Feng stood before a towering sky pillar, observing in several ways at once. His eye of creation and destruction scanned from afar. His spiritual consciousness permeated and felt the place, and he observed from the perspective of ordinary life trapped within the cage. He cross-referenced all angles. The eye of creation and destruction showed a roiling black river, violent and sweeping everything in its path. These were mysteries of life within Hunyuan space, vast and profound, far greater than the great Tao of life embedded in the Supreme Rule. The great Tao of life inside the Supreme Rule encompassed all life mysteries on Origin Continent, but Hunyuan space contained countless source worlds, billions of worlds, innumerable skyborn mixed-source lives and other unknowns. The depth of life's mysteries there exceeded Origin Continents by orders of magnitude. 36 sky pillars, 9 great paths. Each great path had 4 sky pillars representing 4 directions one could glimpse after breaking out of the cage. Senior Yuan and others had laid these out like lamps lighting the darkness. Luohe, I've come to relieve you as the Sky Pillar World Town Defender. A gray-robed elder appeared at one of the Sky Pillar World gates and met one of Luo Feng's Town Defender avatars. Your 1000-era term has ended. First, come with me to see Emperor Xuan. For Luo Feng, the role mattered little. As the Galaxy Lord, he could freely study the 36 sky pillars. He accompanied the gray-robed elder to Emperor Xuan. The handover was formalized. Luo Feng had completed that mission. Only one imperial assignment remained for him in Yanfeng Ancient Kingdom, guarding Shangji City. The dispute with Yansu had cost Luo Feng a punishment, 10,000 eras as Shangji's guard. He still had a long term to serve. Around Huyang City, 5 continuous mountain ranges had risen, forming a massive array that fully protected the city. Anyone who could see beneath the surface would find that the mountain foundations connected underground into an enormous hole, a colossal claw. The claw was a skyborn secret treasure. Luo Feng had obtained in the dream domain, a furry little talon imprinted with inexhaustible patterns and mysteries. Once activated, a realm would form in the palm of the claw. He named it the Palm World. After refining and mastering it, Luo Feng placed the talon near Huyang City. The visible 5 ranges were just the tip of what the treasure bound below. He had intended to buy a cave array from Diqing to protect Huyang and the Dao River Sect headquarters, but the skyborn treasure fit better. He only unleashed a fraction of its power, yet its influence reached the limit of Origin Continent. The dream domain truly was mysterious, able to nurture secret treasures naturally. Life on Origin Continent, by contrast, was simpler. As Luo Feng walked through a wilderness, he observed flowers, plants, trees, and distant exotic beasts. With a glance, he could see the source of their life energy. They all drew from the continent's primal energy and grew stronger accordingly. What is cultivation? Luo Feng thought. Cultivation is discovering ways to absorb more energy and continuously evolve one's life form. Under the supreme rule, the life form becomes ever more powerful. Around him, the trees and plants accelerated their growth. Great trees soared by the millions, billions, even trillions of kilometers. As they climbed, they awoke and began to develop consciousness. Flowers and grasses rooted or spread through the void. Exotic beasts transmogrified. Void true god, eternal true god, chaos realm, god king. Some reached god king level, but their minds were too weak to control such bodies, and they exploded. I could enlighten them, but only if their spiritual will is strong enough to command such a frame, Luo Feng murmured. Under my guidance, they could evolve into god king's second realm peak bodies, but those with the necessary spiritual will are rare. A towering tree condensed into an old man and bowed. A rooted plant transformed into a woman and bowed. A flying exotic beast assumed the form of a young man and bowed. All three bore Chaos Realm strength, their awakenings forced by external influence. It is not easy to enlighten God King level life, Luo Feng said with a faint smile. The great Tao of life has endless mysteries. While enlightening numerous lives, Luo Feng's own comprehension of the great Tao of life had become complete. The workings of life under the supreme rule no longer held confusion. How does life originate? How does it form and strengthen? How does it evolve? All these secrets now lay clearly in his heart. Thanks to the generous support and repeated donations from the guild leaders, Hongmeng Qiba, Feng Xian, and the longtime guild leader Old K. Chapter 269, 5 Clones, Chapter 265 Clones. Chapter 267, 5 Avatars. Luo Feng stared at the 3 Chaos Realm cultivators before him. When he had absorbed the great Tao of life, he had performed a mass enlightenment. Only these 3 were able to bear a Chaos Realm body. That alone was remarkable. Of course, since their awakening relied on an external enlightenment, it would likely be difficult for them to advance further on their own. You 3 are fated with me, Luo Feng said. You may roam the world, or you may come with me to Dao River Sect. I wish to follow Master to Dao River Sect. The woman who had emerged from a plant form and the young man who had shifted from a bird answered without hesitation. They had both been aware for some time and clearly understood how hard it was for Origin life forms to survive on Origin Continent. They knew the value of clinging to a strong patron. The old man who had taken the form of a great tree hesitated. Master, may I wander the world for a while before I come to Dao River Sect? Luo Feng understood that the great tree's consciousness had been born during the Enlightenment. Though he looked like an old man, he was the most innocent of the 3. You may, Luo Feng nodded. At once he took the woman and the young man and vanished. The great tree man felt a little lost. Had he made the right choice? Curiosity finally overcame him. Before enlightenment, he had had only a vague, instinctive awareness, the passing of tribe folk, the hunting of exotic beasts. Now, burning with curiosity, he set off to explore the world. Dao River Sect Headquarters. Morosa looked up at Luo Feng and the 2 new Chaos Realm cultivators who had suddenly appeared. Morosa, these 2 were enlightened by me, Luo Feng instructed. From now on, they are members of Dao River Sect. You will be responsible for training them. Enlightened life forms. Morosa nodded. With his master at the God King Second Realm pinnacle of the great Tao of life, it was indeed possible to enlighten Chaos Realm level life forms. Then Morosa stared at Luo Feng in astonishment. Master, you? He blurted. When Luo Feng had been away, he often used formless and faceless to conceal his strength, but he showed nothing before Morosa. Morosa could clearly perceive that Luo Feng had reached great Tao consummation. I finally made a breakthrough, Luo Feng said with a smile. Congratulations, Master. My heartfelt congratulations. Morosa was elated. His master's talent had always been extraordinary. Even before the ultimate realm, Luo Feng's life and destruction great path technique had far surpassed Morosa's. With powerful secret treasures, Luo Feng had already equaled the two nations' forefathers. Now he had taken another giant step. "It's only a small step," Luo Feng replied modestly, though he knew the magnitude of it. Morosa thought of how quickly Luo Feng had advanced, reaching the ultimate realm after only 1,300 epochs on Origin Continent, and felt the chill of that terrifying growth rate. In terms of secret arts and spiritual will, Luo Feng had already overtaken him. Morosa had reached his own limit. "Among Master's subordinates, I am the strongest. I will manage Dao River Sect and Galaxy God Country well for you," he said, confident. With his multiple avatars and his formless and faceless techniques, he was well suited to handle affairs. "From today, you may begin to nurture the Destruction Legion," Luo Feng instructed. Now that he had reached his current realm, he could make it public. "Yes," Morosa replied at once. The two newcomers were bewildered. Destruction Legion? Though they had consciousness, one had been rooted as a plant, and the other had once been a void true god-level exotic beast. Neither knew what the Destruction Legion meant. "You two, follow me," Morosa said, and took them away. Luo Feng walked through Huyang City, watching the bustling crowds. 3 Chaos Realm cultivators enlightened by me, 2 came to Dao River Sect, 1 chose to wander. This was the power of life, he thought. With powerful spirituality, life held infinite possibilities. Perhaps it might even break free of the Supreme Rule's protection entirely. The so-called cage was a form of protection. Luo Feng looked at the countless cultivators in prosperous Huyang City, each with their own pursuits and spiritual will. Life. At this moment, Luo Feng could be great or small. He could hide within any life form between heaven and earth. Cultivator, unintelligent animal, a blade of grass, or a grain of soil. Within the entire source world, every memory of him was a life imprint he could use to quickly restore a body. Within the scope of Origin Continent, he was the concept of life itself. As long as the world provided an environment that nurtured life, a wisp of energy, a speck of soil, he could be immortal. He could kill Emperor Yuan, he could kill Bai Mo, but killing a true ultimate realm opponent would be far harder. An ultimate realm on the life path within Origin Continent was almost immortal. Of course, that immortality was limited to Origin Continent. His understanding of life was bounded by the life that existed there. God Emperor level beings and Hunyuan bloodlines were beyond his comprehension for now. Great Tao consummation, leaving no trace, severing karma, also had limits. Everyone has karma. After reaching the ultimate realm, a complete Great Tao can obscure and blur karmic traces, making them hard for enemies to perceive. Even marks left across space-time will be blurred. Methods within the cage could not be perceived, but those who had jumped out of the cage, who wielded higher-level methods, could see everything clearly. Luo Feng's eye of creation and destruction opened on his brow. Under its observation, let alone the ultimate realm, even some karmic traces of the two nations' forefathers could still be perceived. He walked to the highest point of a pavilion in the city lord's mansion and sat alone. The great Tao he controlled was the great Tao within the source world. What he had to do next was grope in the dark, allow the great Tao within the source world to integrate into higher mysteries and evolve toward the Hunyuan Tao. Every Tao seeker yearns to comprehend their own Hunyuan Tao. Those ultimate realm Hunyuan bloodline biological materials. Luo Feng flipped open his palm and looked at a broken scale. I can comprehend the 9 phases contained in their basic life structure, but the substance that composes those 9 phases, I cannot comprehend. That substance comes from their Hunyuan bloodline. It lies beyond the cage's great Tao of life. If the great Tao of life itself were at a Hunyuan level, it would understand the scales and fur of an origin life form in depth. At the God King Ultimate Realm, one must grasp the 9 phases and then, with the great Tao of matter, comprehend matter itself and combine the two to form a complete life form. In truth, the matter of all life can be attributed to a Hunyuan level great Tao of life. The higher one rose, the broader the inclusivity became. The Hunyuan Tao was vast and limitless. Luo Feng had seen the Star Tower, the Eye of Creation and Destruction, 2 pieces of special life remains, and the innate treasure Palm World. All of them showed him how vast the Hunyuan Tao could be. At least, he had seen them. Even here in Huyang City, he could still observe all Ultimate Realm Hunyuan bloodline creatures on Origin Continent. These 9 creatures together held 27 different phases. Before his breakthrough, he had comprehended 15 phases. After mastering the Great Tao of Life, comprehending the remaining phases became far easier. Over the next 100 epochs, he completed all 27 phases. On Origin Continent, each of the 9 Ultimate Realm Hunyuan bloodline creatures has its own talent. 4 are relatively weak and can be ignored. The other 5 are useful in various ways, Luo Feng mused. An avatar stepped out beside him, an image resembling Luo Feng, coated in silver-gray scales that shimmered. If anyone could perceive it, they would notice that across past, present, and future timelines, a silver-gray scaled Luo Feng avatar had appeared. This avatar can be called the Time Avatar. It exists simultaneously in past, present, and future, Luo Feng thought. Although he could manifest it, he did not yet understand its deeper mysteries. The 5 Ultimate Realm Hunyuan bloodline creatures he had chosen, once transformed and controlled by his spiritual will and realm, could be considered early-stage God-Emperor-level life forms. But to obtain a truly stronger body, he would have to comprehend it himself. Formless and faceless could no longer do it for him. The 5 great avatars, Heaven and Earth Avatar, Luo Feng commanded inwardly. An avatar came forth, simply dressed and unassuming, yet in an instant it dispersed like mist and cloud, spreading across hundreds of millions of kilometers, far beyond Huyang City. The Heaven and Earth Avatar possessed the talent, body merges with heaven and earth. It could merge into the operation of heaven and earth laws and leverage them, using one part of strength to multiply hundreds or thousands of times. Innate secret treasure Palm World, rise! Luo Feng activated the treasure fully. A rumble shook the entire city and the countless citizens looked up in alarm. Huyang City itself lifted from the ground and began to fly, the whole place shuddering as it rose. What's happening? What's wrong? Many cultivators took to the sky and looked out from the city. Beyond its walls, they could see mountain ranges glowing in every direction. Ordinary mountain ridges were changing into immense furry claws. The 5 shining ranges were only the tips of a vast claw. Larger portions lay below ground. The palm of that claw supported Huyang City as it ascended. Master! Moyu Qingyan, Xinyu, and the others cried out in shock. Yuan also felt the commotion. The aura of that giant claw was more terrifying even than Thunder Mountain. Luo Feng transmitted a single message. This claw is a secret treasure, and I am commanding it. At once, the high-ranking members of Dao River Sect calmed, though they were stunned by Luo He, God King's terrifying technique. The supergiant furry claw stretched for hundreds of millions of kilometers, 2/3 exposed above ground, while the rest remained underground. The thick palm held Huyang City aloft. Now the city floated some 80 trillion kilometers above the ground, suspended on that enormous hand. Palm World was indeed profound. This was his first time activating it fully without concealment, and Luo Feng could feel its wonder. A complete, isolated world, cut off even from karma. It was more terrifying than Thunder Mountain. Heaven and Earth Avatar, merge with Palm World, he willed. The Heaven and Earth Avatar began fusing with the treasure. Because Luo Feng controlled Palm World, it resisted not at all. When the merge completed, his Heaven and Earth Avatar became one with Palm World and felt the inner workings of that world. It gave Luo Feng a new perspective for comprehension. Galaxy is actually Luohe. Ha ha! Di Qing's laughter echoed from afar. Old brother of the galaxy, you've hidden yourself well. Such a huge commotion had already alerted the entire Origin continent and drawn the attention of many powerful beings. Chapter 270, Reincarnation or Innate Potential. Luo Feng's world clone had reached the early stage of God-Emperor life. When that world clone merged with the secret treasure known as the Palm World, a few of the most powerful beings on the Origin continent caught sight of fragments of information. A mysterious early-stage God-Emperor? Such a formidable secret treasure? The only conclusion anyone could reach was that it had to be the Galaxy Lord. It was unthinkable that 2 early-stage God-Emperors would suddenly appear on the Origin continent one after another. Haha, I still couldn't hide it from Emperor Qing, brother. Luo Feng stood on one of the 5 towering peaks of the gigantic furry claw. He dropped his disguise, His mask vanished, revealing his true face. Emperor Qing arrived and laughed. Such a powerful clone, such a powerful secret treasure. I can't imagine anyone else but you, Galaxy Brother. Is this a natural secret treasure? Emperor Qing looked over the enormous claw in awe. A natural secret treasure like this is extremely valuable. Put it in the infinite space treasure trove, and it'd probably fetch 3,000 or 4,000 reward points. Luo Feng nodded. From his long study, he knew the secret patterns contained in this natural treasure were slightly inferior to a special life remnant, but it was still a genuine treasure. I found it in the dream domain, he said. It's the only natural secret treasure I've obtained in all my cultivation. I've cultivated longer and spent a lot of time exploring the dream domain and the sky pillar world, and I've only acquired 2 natural secret treasures in total. Emperor Qing chuckled. From where I stand, its value is close to that of a special life remnant. Luo Feng smiled. So you don't intend to take this natural secret treasure out? Emperor Qing looked at the Palm World, this vast natural treasure forming a protective shell around Huyang City, and nodded. I won't take it out either. This Huyang City could be called the safest place on the entire Origin continent, Emperor Qing said. Its isolation from karma is so strong I can't sense anything within. Thanks to the Eye of Creation and Destruction, Luo Feng could see the karmic links between the lives inside the Palm World and those outside it, but no one else could. Whoosh! 2 more figures arrived side by side, Ancestor Yanfeng and Ancestor Thunder. What a magnificent natural treasure, Ancestor Yanfeng observed. It looks like a claw from a high-level origin life, nurtured for ages within a world-level Hunyuan life in the dream domain. Its value is comparable to a special life remnant. You can tell that too? Luo Feng asked, surprised. After living in this source world for several eras, I've seen many special life remnants and natural treasures, Yanfeng said with a chuckle. And outside the source world, I've heard similar reports, so I can deduce a thing or two. Ancestor Thunder gazed at the claw and said, Galaxy, are you planning to sell this natural secret treasure? I could get you a Dao comprehension inheritance suitable for you, one that leads directly to the half-primordial origin realm. An inheritance that reaches the half-primordial origin realm. Emperor Qing nearby was surprised. Inheritances below the God Emperor level were common enough, but those opening directly to the half-primordial origin level were far more costly. No, I won't sell it, Luo Feng said. Keep in mind, if you ever decide to sell, contact me. Ancestor Thunder was patient. His long life had taught him that perspectives change over eras. Under different circumstances, Luo Feng might well be willing to part with the treasure. Luo Feng looked into the distance. Feng Shi, ancestor of the East Extremity domain, had also arrived. So all the God Emperors of the Origin continent are gathered here today, Luo Feng chuckled. It's my honor. He waved his hand. A cave dwelling materialized with tables and chairs. Wine and fruit were set out. Please, everyone, sit. Luo Feng, the 2 nations' forefathers, Emperor Qing, Feng Shi, Ancestor Yanfeng, and Ancestor Thunder, 5 in all, took their seats. They were the 5 most powerful existences on the Origin continent. I'd been guessing who the Galaxy Lord really was. I even once thought it might be Luo He, but he's too young, so I didn't dare believe it, Feng Shi said with a dry laugh. Who would have expected it really is Luo He? Luo He, Ancestor Yanfeng said. Are you a reincarnator, or did you truly reach this realm in only a little over 1,000 eras? Looking at the cultivation paths and secret arts of strong figures in our history, none of them match Luo He. He shouldn't be a reincarnator, Feng Shi replied, shaking her head. Ancestor Thunder laughed instead. Maybe he's a powerful being from another source world who reincarnated here. Both Ancestor Yanfeng and Ancestor Thunder turned their gazes to Luo Feng. A powerful being from another source world, reincarnated here? Luo Feng asked. Has that happened on the Origin continent? Not on the Origin continent, Ancestor Yanfeng said with a wry smile. But outside our source world, such stories are common. If you're not a reincarnator, Ancestor Thunder began, Luo He could have been reborn into the cycle of reincarnation and arrived at the Origin continent, first coming to Huyang City about 1,500 eras ago, and already possess such a realm. Ancestor Thunder mused. That short a time to achieve such strength, terrifying, Emperor Qing added, admiring Luo Feng. The two nations' forefathers, Feng Shi, Emperor Qing, all felt the same. If Luo Feng had truly cultivated this fast, his growth rate was astonishing. If he were an ancient monster reincarnated from another source world, it might make sense. Otherwise, his talent was beyond comprehension. Luo Feng laughed loudly. "You can just assume I'm a reincarnator," he said. He was too tired to argue or to prove anything. Even looking across billions of worlds, he would rank among the absolute top echelon, Yan Feng and the others murmured. The possibility that Luo He had reached this level in a short time filled them with dread. Such talent and potential were terrifying. Across the origin continent, emperors, monarchs, and many god kings were speculating about the events in Huyang City. Emperor Yan, Emperor Shi, and Emperor Wu gathered together. "The Galaxy Lord's true identity is, in all likelihood, Luo He," Emperor Yan said restlessly from his throne. His huge fiery wings rustled, his long scaly tail swayed uneasily, and the flames along his body surged and twisted. "Are you that flustered?" Emperor Wu asked. "A powerful secret treasure near Huyang City proves the Galaxy Lord is Luo He. Did you see that treasure's might? It's already at the upper limit of power on the origin continent," Emperor Yan said with urgency. "It even isolates karma more effectively than Thunder Mountain. Right now, I can't sense any life within Huyang City." Emperor Shi nodded in agreement. On the origin continent, Thunder Mountain used to be the #1 holy land for isolating karma. Huyang City's isolation is even stronger. "Treasures depend on their master's deployment," Emperor Yan continued. "Take Guishu and the others, give them powerful treasures, and they can't unleash much power. But that oversized claw can, so its master must be stronger than us. This being suddenly appears on the origin continent with such a powerful treasure. Who else could it be but the Galaxy Lord?" Emperor Yan said, urgency sharpening his voice. "Those 5 continuous mountain ranges have guarded Huyang City for hundreds of eras. Consider Luo He's rapid rise. Consider that the former Galaxy Lord defeated 3 monarchs of Shi country, yet the territory still came under Luo He's control. Look at Luo He's history. He seems to despise tyranny and wickedness. Put it all together, 9 times out of 10, Luo He is the Galaxy Lord." As the first emperor of the Yanfeng ancient kingdom, Emperor Yan had a sharp instinct and great influence. He had long noticed Luo Feng's potential and wanted to keep him in check, but he never imagined Luo Feng's growth would be this explosive. "And even if he is the Galaxy Lord, what then? We don't have a major grievance with him," Emperor Shi said coolly. "Emperor Wu, you and Di Chu have quite a feud," Emperor Yan reminded them. "We didn't kill any of Luo He's clansmen or any disciples of his sect." Emperor Wu replied, "As for my grudge with Di Chu's alive and well, but I lost 2 children. I suffered more. We are, after all, emperors of the Yanfeng royal family. The ancestor is benevolent. Unless it's a colossal crime, he will protect us." Emperor Shi looked at Emperor Yan. "I know what you're thinking. You want to leave the origin continent, don't you?" Emperor Yan met his wife's gaze. "I don't want to leave our fate to some other power." After deciding that Luo He was probably the Galaxy Lord, Emperor Yan had already resolved not to go. Emperor Shi shook her head. "I've heard that outside the source world, those of us who only possess ultimate realm lives are the weakest rung. I'd rather remain on the origin continent for billions of eras than go out." There were still billions of eras left. She saw no reason to leave now. Far away, Di Chu looked toward Huyang City. The giant furry claw supporting the city seemed even more terrifying than Thunder Mountain. To be able to control such a treasure and display no fear, not even worrying that the ancestors might swoop in and seize it, Di Chu thought the display had only one purpose: to protect Huyang City. The emperors were not fools. Luo Feng's public display of power in Huyang City, combined with earlier clues, pointed them all toward the same conclusion. Luo He might be the Galaxy Lord. Could my disciple be the Galaxy Lord? Di Chu's heart stirred. Could it really be? He contacted Luo Feng through his communication token. "Master," Luo Feng answered. "Luo Feng, are you the Galaxy Lord?" Di Chu asked, voice tense. "Yes, I am the Galaxy Lord. It was my fault for hiding it from you for so long," Luo Feng replied. On the other end, Di Chu felt his blood rush and his head spin. Chapter 271, Emperor Yan, Emperor Shi, and Emperor Wu. With the imperial family's backing, Di Chu had only been able to cultivate a handful of Ultimate Realm secret techniques and, using some resources, refine himself into an Ultimate Realm life form. Comprehending a complete Great Path remained a distant dream. As for venturing outside the source world, with his current strength, he would be among the weakest in gatherings of powerhouses from billions of worlds. The most important shortcoming was that he still had no clone technique. My disciple, has he reached beyond God-King level? How long has he been cultivating? Di Chu could hardly believe it. A huge opportunity had appeared before him. My master, I am currently accompanying the two nations' forefathers and the others. Once things here are settled, I will come and report everything in detail, Luo Feng messaged. No rush. Master is not in a hurry, Di Chu replied with a grin. Among the emperors and lords of the Origin continent, apart from Di Qing, the strongest individual was Di Yuan. A lone wolf, his relations with other emperors were generally poor. Still, he looked on Luo Feng differently. Dai Yuan admired those who rose from the lowest ranks. He had once gifted Luo Feng the robbery beast diagram, his true will's secret technique inheritance, which helped Luo Feng's early will cultivation. Their soul will paths differed, but both had reached beyond the God-King level long before they had comprehended any great path, even approaching the Origin continent's upper limits of willpower. Luo He will be the Galaxy Lord? Di Yuan said with a touch of surprise. What an incredible genius. He quickly grew accustomed to such news. Having come up from the bottom of a small universe, Di Yuan had encountered many who surpassed him. He was not in a hurry. Cultivation was not about instant triumphs, but the long, unending years of steady advancement. Luo Feng, the two nations' forefathers, Di Qing, and the East Extremity Domain ancestor, 5 of them, gathered together. If he truly accomplishes so much in so short a time, his future will be astonishing, the Yanfeng Ancient Kingdom ancestor said, looking at Luo Feng. Outside the source world, among powerhouses from billions of worlds, he will stand among the brightest. Luo Feng smiled. Do you think they can break free from the cage? The question stopped everyone. Breaking free from the cage was what every cultivator groping in the dark longed for, and the most difficult transformation. Like a fish leaping the dragon gate to become a divine dragon, like a mortal ascending to immortality, breaking the cage was a complete metamorphosis. Difficult, impossible for most, the East Extremity Domain ancestor said. Even the legends of breaking free to become a high-level origin life are rare. So talent counts for little then? Luo Feng chuckled. There's nothing to boast about. Those with extraordinary talent can at least reach half Hunyuan more easily, the Yanfeng Ancient Kingdom ancestor remarked. I've cultivated for many eras and I'm still only a god emperor at late-stage Dao comprehension. I abandoned Dao comprehension for the Hunyuan bloodline, Thunder ancestor added. For you, Luo He, taking the Dao comprehension path to reach half Hunyuan should be relatively smooth. The path must still be taken step by step, Luo Feng said with clear self-awareness. The super-secret treasure he had exchanged for, the Eye of Creation and Destruction, had historically been traded only by extremely talented cultivators. Of the first 12 exchangers, only one had ever broken free from the cage to become a high-level origin life, and he had died in battle. This Luo He, so gifted and yet so humble, the Yanfeng Ancient Kingdom ancestor sighed inwardly. Such cultivators were the most terrifying, always moving forward, step by step. Luo He, the Yanfeng Ancient Kingdom ancestor continued, I've read the records. In my Yanfeng imperial family, Emperor Yan, Emperor Shi, and Emperor Wu have some conflicts with you, do they not? Luo Feng frowned and answered, I do have a feud with Emperor Wu. She once threatened to slaughter every disciple of my Dao River sect. Di Chu was there and blocked her in time. Emperor Wu's temperament is cruel, the Yanfeng ancestor nodded. She's vicious even to her own kin. She once ambushed Di Chu, causing him to fall into the river of filthy blood. He was nearly lost to contamination, but a naturally formed secret treasure saved him, and he survived. How shall we deal with the 3 of them? The Yanfeng ancestor asked. Since there's enmity, kill them all, Thunder ancestor said bluntly. Luo Feng replied, Emperor Wu deserves death. As for Emperor Yan and Emperor Shi, all 5 turned their attention toward a spot on the Origin continent where the teleportation passage lay. Emperor Yan had lost patience. Whoosh! Rainbow light streaked across half the origin continent and arrived at the heavenly extremes ice plains, where the teleportation passage lay hidden inside an icy valley guarded by a stable formation. A dark, deep pool sat at its heart. Beside it, a clone of the Emperor Consort meditated, waiting for Luohe's departure. Emperor Consort looked up as a flash of rainbow light arrived Emperor Yan. Yan glanced at him without a word and plunged into the dark pool. The pool glowed and the Emperor was gone, teleported outside the source world. He left? Emperor Consort realized. Emperor Yan had sensed something, then slipped away alone without his companions. It was very much his style, ruthless to others and to himself. Luo Feng and the others noticed the light from the icy pool. Emperor Yan entered the teleportation passage, Luo Feng said. He ran fast, Thunder Ancestor laughed. Yan sensed danger and fled. I still say Emperor Wu deserves death, Luo Feng said. Emperor Yan and Emperor Shi have only minor conflicts with me. Let's expel them from the origin continent ahead of time. He had no desire to meddle in every old dispute on the origin continent. He could not tolerate those with great crimes, but lesser grievances could be left to their own actors. You're too merciful, Luohe, the Yanfeng ancestor chuckled. Since they offended you, they deserve to die. No sooner had he spoken than an invisible wind swept the origin continent. It entered the bodies and souls of Emperor Wu and Emperor Shi. Though Emperor Wu had many clones, the wind wiped them all away. It swept her physical form and her soul, dissolving her into nothingness between heaven and earth. No, Emperor Wu understood at once who had attacked. The ancestors had long tolerated her because they paid little heed to the petty disputes among clansmen. Over the eras, they had cultivated countless clans. The ancestors cared for the clan as a whole, not individuals. She had been bold in her cruelty before, exterminating whole families and cities, and had considered threatening Luohe a minor matter. She regretted not leaving with Emperor Yan. Too late, her consciousness plunged into darkness. She died. Emperor Shi was next. Swept by the same wind, she raged at her fate. Although she had collaborated with Yan and Wu many times, she held little grudge against Luohe. Why had he not shown mercy? Why had the ancestors sided against her? In rage and disbelief, her consciousness went dark. She died too. With them, the sequence of deaths on the origin continent grew. Emperor Yuan, Bai Mo, Lan Duo had fallen earlier. Now Emperor Wu and Emperor Shi followed. 5 emperors and lords had been extinguished in succession. The other forces on the origin continent trembled and dared not defy the rules set by the Galaxy Lord. With the 2 nations' forefathers backing the Galaxy Lord, who could resist? Just crush them casually, the Yanfeng ancient kingdom ancestor said lightly. To ancient existences who had waged wars outside the source world for untold ages, killing a few small fry was hardly worth mentioning. Lives have their rises and falls, he continued. Compared to the countless beings here, these few lived long, well, and freely. Now fate, through my hand, returns them to the origin continent's origin. Brother Luohe, Di Qing said, the clone you showed this time was extraordinary. Have your secret techniques reached a new level? Yes, Luo Feng nodded. My secret techniques are finally complete. Are you preparing to leave the source world? Di Qing's eyes brightened. He had long awaited a companion like this. After settling matters on the origin continent, I expect to depart within a few eras, Luo Feng answered. Chapter 272, Mainland Influence. How many epochs? Di Qing asked, a pleased expression on his face. Send a message when you're ready to depart. All right, Luo Feng replied. The 5 who had been present, having exhausted their curiosity, dispersed quickly. Aside from Luo Feng, the others focused their attention on venturing beyond the source world. In Huyang City, cultivators stood in stunned silence, staring at the colossal claw that now supported the entire city. Its 5 digits stretched outward like 5 continuous mountain ranges. What is going on? How did Huyang City lift off? Even the Tao River sect's disciples were shaken and bewildered. God kings from the origin continent could piece together some of the truth, but ordinary disciples knew very little about the God King level. They only knew their sect master, Luo He God King, was a major figure on the origin continent, though not on the same scale as the emperors and monarchs of the 2 great ancient kingdoms. Whoosh, 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 inside the Tao River sect headquarters main hall, all senior members were gathered. Sect master, master. Luo Feng sat in the center seat, with Morosa and Yuan Fen at his sides. Behind them stood Moyu Qingyan, Xinyu, a contingent of Chaos Realm elders and guest officials, and a crowd of registered disciples. I called everyone together to announce a few things, Luo Feng said with a smile. First, the giant claw you see outside is a secret treasure I refined. The world inside my palm is isolated from the outside. Even karma is blocked, so even a god king at the ultimate realm would be unable to detect a trace. Even the senior members in the hall paled at that. An ultimate realm god king unable to detect such a world? The implication was terrifying. The second matter, Luo Feng continued, is that Elder Luo Sa is actually a peak world beast, possessing the strength of a god king at the ultimate realm. Huh? Many in the hall were stunned. Moyu Qingyan stared at Morosa in disbelief. He had known his second master in Huyang City as a jovial, food-loving teacher, hardly the image of a god king-level existence. Morosa winked at Moyu Qingyan, then swept his gaze across the hall with a grin. I, Morosa, can finally act without restraint. The third matter, Luo Feng said, is that I have another identity. I am the Galaxy Lord. Silence fell like a cloak over the hall. Yuan Fen managed to remain composed. The other elders and disciples were shaken to their cores. The Galaxy Lord, the one who had established rules that reshaped the origin continent and brought down emperors and monarchs of the two great ancient kingdoms, was revered by countless cultivators. Many already called him the Galaxy Ancestor. He was the one who had ended the devastation caused by sudden, monstrous calamities, a scourge that once threatened whole tribes and cities. By imposing rules, the Galaxy Lord removed that terror and changed the fate of countless lives. No wonder this revelation caused such reverence and awe. From now on, the territory governed by Galaxy God Country will include the territory where Dao River Sect is located, Luo Feng announced. That brings the total to 1,019 chaos states. Since Luo Feng could hold his own alongside the two nations' forefathers, smaller nations had already pledged fealty to Galaxy God Country, enlarging its domain. With Dao River Sect's territory of 155 chaos states added, the nation now officially surpassed 1,000 chaos states. Within Galaxy God Country's domain, Dao River Sect will establish branches in every chaos state, Luo Feng added. The senior members of Dao River Sect understood what this meant. Dao River Sect was poised to become the single most influential sect on the origin continent. The imperial families remained the core power of the two great ancient kingdoms, but in Galaxy God Country, Luo Feng had no sprawling imperial lineage to manage. Instead, he focused entirely on cultivating and relying on Dao River Sect's disciples. Unquestionably, the sect's disciples would become the ruling power across the nation. Dao River Sect's future status could rival those imperial houses. The news I've shared today need not be kept secret. Tell every disciple in the sect, Luo Feng said with a smile. Yes, the hall responded in unison. Luo Feng stood and, with a single step, vanished. Only then did the tension in the hall begin to ease. Second Master Moyu Qingyan hurried to Morosa's side. Did Master really say Morosa? Morosa and Luosa are both my names, Morosa replied with a smile. I hid my world beast identity before, so I behaved cautiously. He looked fondly at Moyu Qingyan. With a world beast like me teaching you personally, your cultivation still struggles? Moyu Qingyan suddenly realized the scale of his fortune. His first master was the Galaxy Lord, one of the highest beings on the origin continent. His second master was a peak world beast, an ultimate realm god king level existence. To be favored by master and taught by second master is my greatest blessing, Moyu Qingyan said. You should thank your father, Morosa chuckled. When master and I reincarnated to the origin continent, the first cultivator we met was your father, Moyu Hu. Of Moyu Hu's 3 children, Luo Feng had chosen Moyu Qingyan to mentor. Meanwhile, Luo Feng had traveled to Chu capital to visit his master, Di Chu, and had thoroughly relayed secrets spanning 1,500 epochs. At Chu capital's Chuyu Marquis residence, Marquis Chuyu stood in his hall and issued a strict order. I'm not seeing anyone. Turn anyone who comes away. Yes, the butler replied and hurried out. Father, is uncle really the Galaxy Lord? The 3 young men in the hall were ecstatic, the dignified woman beside them even more so. Yanfeng Guild verified the intelligence, Marquis Chuyu said, glancing at his 3 sons. and Dao River sect's disciples have spread the word, so it must be true. Have you contacted him? The eldest asked. Shut up, Marquise Chuyu snapped. Today must be his uncle's busiest day. With his identity exposed, there would be countless affairs to attend. We must not disturb him. And remember, I am only a good friend of Luo He. Do not act recklessly relying on that bond. If you cause a major problem, no need for the imperial family to punish you. I will, he scolded. He knew his son's temperaments all too well. As a first-rank Marcus in the imperial family, he had influence, but he did not want his sons to squander it through careless arrogance. The dignified woman beside him agreed. Although Luo He and I have a bond, it is limited and can be exhausted, Marquise Chuyu warned. I don't want your immature actions to consume that link. We understand, the three sons chorused dutifully, though their excitement remained palpable. Marquise Chuyu could only sigh. He knew the imperial hierarchy was strict, emperors, god-kings, and first-rank marquises, and even among marquises he was not the most formidable. But now, with the public knowledge that he and the Galaxy Lord had once been comrades in arms, even emperors treated him differently. When great wealth comes, one must remain steady, he muttered, thinking not only of himself, but of keeping an eye on his wife and sons and watching over the family. Di Chuying, meanwhile, relaxed in his cave dwelling, sipping wine. Back then, I gave Luo He a guest official position. He owes me a favor. He set the cup down gently. And that favor has multiplied in value many times over. He poured another glass. He had no intention of calling in that favor lightly. The worth of such a debt only rose with time. Di Chuying was content to wait until the moment truly demanded it. Luo Feng's announcement to the Dao River sect had not been kept secret. Word spread across the origin continent like wildfire. God kings from Yu country, members of the Reincarnation Little Building, and many other powers all reacted in amazement. In Yanfeng Ancient Kingdom's Fengjiang City, Fengjiang God King fumed. That fool Zhang Yunjie, what a fool! His usual placid temper was gone. Such a huge opportunity, and she ruined it. Mo Yu Qingyan's two masters, one is the Galaxy Lord, the other a God King Ultimate Realm World Beast. How could she mess it up so badly back then? Fengjiang God King's anger boiled over. Issue the order. Zhang Yunjie's entire lineage is to be expelled from the family. Erase their names from the registry. At this moment, he wanted no part of that lineage benefiting from him. That bloodline, he decided, was unworthy of royal favor. Zhang Yunge's clan still boasted over a dozen eternal true gods, many void true gods, and numerous true gods. But the lineage had already been sidelined, relocated to rule a small, ordinary city within the Yanfeng Ancient Kingdom. What? Expelled? Names erased? The family members panicked. Without the imperial family's protection, survival would be uncertain. The dozen or so eternal true gods might manage, but most others would lose their comfortable lives. Zhang Father gathered tens of thousands of relatives and stormed to find Zhang Yunge, who had been living in seclusion. She looked at the crowd her father had brought and felt overwhelmed. Father, what's happening? Why are we being expelled? Don't you know? Zhang Father said, incredulous. Mo Yu Qingyan's second master, God King Luosa, is a God King Ultimate Realm World Beast, and his master, God King Luo He, is the Galaxy Lord. Zhang Yunge listened dumbfounded. Zhang Father sighed at her stunned silence. I will take tens of thousands of family members and relocate them. The rest I'll entrust to you. You are a God King's disciple and once had a relationship with Mo Yu Qingyan. It will be safer for them to follow you. Even if separated, Zhang Yunge's past connection made her a relatively secure haven. Even ruthless ancient existences would hesitate before targeting someone with that kind of link. I understand, Zhang Yunge said, a migraine threatening at the thought of managing so many relatives. She recalled meeting Luo Feng and Morosa with Mo Yu Qingyan long ago, but at the time she hadn't noticed anything extraordinary. Now the truth hit her like a thunderbolt. Chapter 273. My name is Yuan. On an island in the middle of a lake in the infinite space treasure land, Luo Feng sat cross-legged on the grass, pondering. The great path of life had reached the ultimate realm, but the great path of destruction was still lacking. With the help of those ultimate realm life materials, his life path cultivation could advance significantly, so most of his effort had gone there. The life materials made comprehension smoother. For the path of destruction, he decided to take a look at a perfect grade legacy in the infinite space treasure trove. A perfect grade legacy should be useful. Extinction 9 Realms, a perfect grade legacy of the great path of destruction. The first realm cost only 100 reward points to exchange. The second and third demanded 10,000 reward points each. Even to begin attempting it required a mind and will beyond the God King level. Curiosity won out. It's only 100 points. I'll trade for the first realm and try it, Luo Feng thought. He exchanged with a thought, and his reward points dropped slightly to 64,093.03. A vast flood of information poured into his mind. Extinction 9 Realms, First Realm, Path Peaking Realm. In this realm, one can glimpse the memories of the Destruction Origin Great Path imprinted on the Source World's Great Path of Destruction. When a cultivator has peeked into all the destruction memories and still remains clear-headed, the first realm is mastered. Reminder, only a will beyond God King level may attempt this. Otherwise, one will be assimilated by the Destruction Origin Great Path. Reminder, even with a strong will, one may still sink into the imprinted destruction memories and become completely insane while peaking. The cultivator must control the pace of peaking and not rush. The cultivation instructions that followed left Luo Feng a little stunned. There were no detailed teachings for any branch of the path of destruction. It only instructed one to peek into the imprinted memories. He hadn't even known that such destruction memories were imprinted on the path. The first realm was essentially a method of refining heart, safeguarding the mind while glimpsing alien, destructive memories. Even wills beyond God King level could be driven mad, so progress had to be carefully controlled. Even so, Luo Feng thought, a refining heart method was worth 100 reward points. "My name is Yuan," a voice said suddenly. Luo Feng jolted and turned. A kindly old man stood a dozen feet away, smiling. Luo Feng's mind and will perception registered nothing. How could he have approached unnoticed? Yet his eyes clearly saw him. "You're quite bold to exchange for Extinction 9 Realms," the old man said. "Only the first 5 realms are exchangeable for God King level cultivators. Even among those first 5, across endless years, many talented cultivators tried and none succeeded. The highest anyone reached was the 4th realm. Many went insane and lost their minds." Luo Feng recognized him at once. "Senior Yuan," he greeted respectfully. Every cultivator who reached the ultimate realm in the source world had once received Yuan's favor. The treasure lands, special life remains, secret techniques, many of those were gifts from Yuan. Yuan nodded and continued. "My good friend created all 9 realms, thinking that mastering them would let one at least break free from the cage and become a world-level Hunyuan life. But he went mad. His legacy is simply unsuitable for straightforward cultivation." He looked at Luo Feng. "I meet every ultimate realm cultivator in the source world. You came into possession of that 9-story small tower." "The Star Tower?" Luo Feng offered. "You call it the Star Tower?" "Yes, I refined it," Yuan said. "Back then we jointly killed a Hunyuan ancestor. Its corpse had 3 scarlet scales. I threw 1 scarlet scale into that little tower and refined it, turning the tower into a carrier for the scale. That scarlet scale is still perfectly intact, buried deep within the tower. Even with my strength, I couldn't destroy it. I could only barely utilize it." Yuan sighed. "We usually reserve Hunyuan ancestor corpse materials for the most brilliant, most talented cultivators, but too few of them break free from the cage. So I thought to cultivate some weaker young ones. That's why I made that small tower. It would go into the primordial universe and find its owner among the limitless beings. You becoming its owner despite your weakness shows you're exceptional." Yuan paused. Rare praise from him. Luo Feng felt both humbled and pleased. He now fully understood that the Star Tower had been refined by Yuan and that the scarlet scale inside was a fragment of a Hunyuan ancestor. "Thank you, Senior Yuan," Luo Feng said. Yuan smiled. "You asked how to break free from the cage? That's what many cultivators want to know. The perfect grade legacies in the infinite space treasure trove were created by existences on my level. All special grade legacies were crafted by world-level Hunyuan lives. That's why exchanges for those legacies are limited to God King level." "Do you know why later realms are restricted?" Yuan asked. Luo Feng listened. "We once made later legacies available, Yuan explained, but their influence was too great. They affected cultivators' very approach to the Great Path. In cultivation, those who only imitate die. Those who learn and adapt survive. Everyone who can break free from the cage has to be unique. If one simply imitates rigidly, one ends at a dead end. So we restricted the exchange of later legacies to God-King level cultivators. The infinite space treasure trove does include some legacies that can directly lead to the half-Hunyuan stage, he continued. Their creators didn't ultimately succeed, and those legacies are rough, but their concepts are extremely advanced. If later cultivators can refine and perfect those concepts on their own, they may still have a chance to break free from the cage. Luo Feng understood. The best path was to grope in the dark and discover one's own way, guided only by hints. Will one lose direction groping in the dark? He asked. That was the biggest obstacle beyond God-King level. That's why special life remains exist, Yuan said. They're remnants of world-level Hunyuan lives. The mysteries they contain are at the world-level Hunyuan stage. These remains are like lamps in a distant darkness. Advance toward those lamps. Even if the light is dim and groping brings detours, the lamp marks the true destination. Your opportunity is even better, he added. Your 9-story tower contains a scarlet scale from a Hunyuan ancestor. As you grope in the dark, you have a chance to go further. A single world-level Hunyuan's remains can be divided into billions of parts, Yuan went on. We ensure any ultimate realm cultivator in the source world can obtain at least one portion. But Hunyuan ancestor-level remains are far rarer. Getting them is much harder. You'll understand once you go beyond the source world, so cherish your star tower. For this perfect grade Extinction 9 Realms legacy, you should at most exchange for the first 3 realms. Beyond that isn't very meaningful. There's no need to exchange for other legacies either. To go further, you must explore and create your own legacies. Accumulate reward points. The more you have, the better treasures you can trade for. I've said all I can. Now it's up to you to walk your own path. With that, Yuan vanished. Luo Feng bowed deeply. Yuan's visit treated every ultimate realm cultivator alike. At this moment, Yuan didn't view Luo Feng as exceptionally outstanding. Across billions of source worlds and endless time, Yuan had seen far more astonishing prodigies. How many truly broke free from the cage? Few. Just as Yuan advised, Luo Feng exchanged the first 3 realms of Extinction 9 Realms and then stopped spending his reward points, saving them. The meeting with Yuan clarified that most other legacies in the treasure trove weren't especially meaningful for him right now. His greatest gain was learning the origin of the Star Tower. Back in Huyang City, Luo Feng turned the Star Tower over in his hand. The scarlet scale inside was perfectly intact. Even Yuan and the others couldn't destroy it. He had always thought the tower's 12-colored scarlet scales were condensed manifestations of rule mysteries. Now he understood they were fragments of a far more profound power. According to Yuan, the scarlet scale's mysteries were the most important thing when groping in the dark. Other special life remains were supplementary. Luo Feng closed his eyes and pondered. Can I break free from the cage? The question hung in his mind as he prepared to walk his own path. Chapter 254, Departure, Beyond the Source World, End of this arc, Galaxy God Country, Capital City. Come on, pour the wine. Guishu, where's the good stuff? Blackfire Demon Lord shouted. I contributed last time and only managed to get 3 jars. You lot drained a whole jar in no time, Guishu Emperor protested, reluctant. This is fine wine brewed from some rare treasures in the dream domain, Wuxian God King urged from the side. Don't be stingy. Bring it out, Yuntian God King said with a smile. Lord Dazizai sighed with contentment. All right, we'll drink it all today. Guishu Emperor could only relent and hand over another jar. Wuxian God King snatched it and began pouring. Members of the Reincarnation Little Building had always kept a low profile, but since the Galaxy God Country was founded, they had come out one after another to join the festivities. Ever since Luo Feng's identity was publicly revealed, even Blackfire Demon Lord had shown up voluntarily. Who wouldn't prefer to live openly rather than lurking in the shadows? In the capital, even emperors and monarchs wouldn't dare behave so brazenly. Tell me, how did Feng Du have such foresight? She invited the Galaxy Lord to join our reincarnation little building when he was still in the Chaos Realm, Blackfire Demon Lord sighed. Look how fast the Galaxy Lord rose. He was in the Chaos Realm back then, and now he's one of the most powerful beings on the Origin continent. Wuxin God King also sighed. He no longer dared to use Luo Feng's given name. With so large a status gap, respect had become automatic. The Galaxy Lord helped me get my revenge. Emperor Wu and Emperor Xi are both dead, and Emperor Yan fled beyond the Origin continent. He won't last long, Guishu Emperor said, raising his cup. I never thought I'd be able to kill an emperor. The days when the two great imperial clans ruled absolutely are over, Wuxin God King said, relieved. The two clans were now more cautious. All the unattached god kings on the Origin continent felt freer. The deaths of Emperor Yuan, Bai Mo, Lan Duo, Emperor Wu, and Emperor Shi, the 5 emperors and monarchs falling in succession, had shaken the continent profoundly. The two great clans were cowed and restrained. In Luo He's case, it took him 2 or 3 breaths to kill me, and I still had time to use the reincarnation secret technique, Emperor Yuan recalled in a restaurant. But for the later emperors and monarchs, they didn't even have time to reincarnate. I, who was the most sinful on the Origin continent, actually benefited. Emperor Yuan smiled wryly. I can't return to the imperial clan, and I can't cultivate to become an ultimate realm life form anymore, he thought. But I've shaken off many karmic entanglements and can focus on cultivation. Maybe I'll comprehend the great path. Emperor Yuan had been reckless among emperors and monarchs, but with Luo Feng's rise, he had become cautious. Emperor Wu and Emperor Shi are dead. There's no reason Emperor Yan should still be alive, he mused. Unless he escaped. Emperor Yan has always been slippery. Emperor Yuan shook his head, having spent many years with him. Emperor Yan lived long and hoarded resources, but his realm hadn't been outstanding, except for his uncanny intuition and formidable methods. Among the emperors of the Yanfeng ancient kingdom, Emperor Yan could unite others to gain resources and benefits beyond his own power. Even though Emperor Wu and Emperor Shi were dead, Emperor Yan remained at large. In an ordinary large city, an eternal true god checked intelligence from the Yanfeng Guild. Luo He is the Galaxy Lord? He muttered in disbelief. The eternal true god he had known in Huyang City back then was now on a par with the two nations' forefathers. Lucky I reincarnated fast, Lord Luyin thought. He hadn't rushed to breakthrough and remained at the eternal true god stage, safe in an ordinary large city where he had no rivals. I must be careful. If I became Chaos Realm, I'd be noticed. Eternal true gods are endless on the Origin continent. It's much safer. He remembered when he had provoked the Galaxy Lord in Luo Feng's weaker days and shuddered at how quickly Luo Feng had risen. He resolved to keep a low profile and enjoy the easy life of an eternal true god. The East Extremity Domain ancestor read the intelligence and felt wistful. I only reached eternal true god after Luo Feng gifted me a legacy and resources, he admitted. It was extremely difficult to become an eternal true god without aid. Most reincarnated human cultivators on the Origin continent, even given top-tier resources, remained at void true god. According to Luo Feng, Ziyue should have died long ago, the East Extremity Domain ancestor read and believed. With the Galaxy ancestor's judgment of karma, if he said Ziyue was dead, then she was dead. 3 epochs passed in a flash. The Extinction 9 Realms is extreme, mad, but it truly helps one comprehend the destruction origin great path, Luo Feng thought as he cultivated. He hadn't gone insane under its trials. He had already built a deep understanding of the great path of destruction, comprehended multiple Ultimate Realm secret techniques, and possessed a destruction demon race clone. He had also integrated the creation and destruction great paths, which helped him weather some of the deadly dangers within the Extinction 9 Realms. Though he disliked its madness, it taught him the nature of the Hunyuan Dao of destruction. As a perfect level legacy, the Extinction 9 Realms embedded intense imprints of the Source World's destruction great path. The first realm, the Dao Glimpse Realm, lets a cultivator glimpse memories imprinted on the Source World. The Source World's repeated great destructions across its history, world beast annihilations, cultivators actively destroying worlds, and higher-level destruction scenes recorded in the Hunyuan space. The deeper the memory, the more terrifying and spirit-distorting it can be. Some higher-level destruction scenes made Luo Feng's soul tremble. The first realm is meant to give a vague impression of the Hunyuan Tao of destruction, Luo Feng understood. It was clear the creator hoped future generations could use this perfect legacy to break free of limitations and perhaps become world-level Hunyuan life. In practice, such a terrifying legacy also hindered later generations from carving their own paths. That was why infinite space now only offered exchanges for the first 5 realms. My growth has slowed, and my resources are limited. It's time to go beyond the source world, Luo Feng decided. Even the ordinary auxiliary item he consumed, the Hunyuan crystal, had become too expensive. Since his life form had reached God Emperor, early stage, his long-term consumption rose to 300 Hunyuan crystals per epoch. He couldn't afford that. Lately, he had avoided using treasures in cultivation, so his efficiency had dropped. With a single step, Luo Feng left Huyang City and arrived at Emperor Chu Palace in Chu capital. Master. Luo Feng bowed when he saw his mentor. Di Chu. Luo Feng? Di Chu smiled. Are you ready to leave? Yes, Luo Feng nodded. Outside the source world, I can meet powerhouses from billions of worlds. The clash of minds and richer resources will smooth my cultivation. Master, are you sure you won't come with me? I won't. Di Chu shook his head. Outside, my strength would be at the bottom. Going out would only hold you back. I plan to cultivate until the origin continent nears annihilation, then go explore. Di Chu laughed heartily. Even if I die outside, it won't be a loss. Luo Feng stopped trying to persuade him. At God Emperor, early stage, he couldn't help his master much outside. His weapons and secret treasures would be inferior to many powers beyond the source world. Go explore well. When the time comes, your master will probably need your protection, Di Chu said with a smile. Understood. Luo Feng bowed. I'll take my leave. Focus on cultivation. Don't overthink things, Di Chu encouraged. Luo Feng then met with Origin Ancestor, the primordial Chaos City Lord, and Morosa. I'm going beyond the source world, but a clone of me will remain on the origin continent, Luo Feng explained. I need to concentrate on my adventures abroad. My clone will mostly seclude itself. If anything important happens, the 3 of you can send me a message, he instructed. I'll receive all your messages. I won't be distracted during seclusion, Luo Feng promised. Origin Ancestor, Teacher, the Galaxy God Country, and Tao River Sect will rely mainly on you two. Morosa's temperament is a little wild. You two should keep him in check. I'm very obedient, Morosa said with a glare. Don't worry, leave it to us. Origin Ancestor and the primordial Chaos City Lord nodded. Luo Feng glanced at Morosa half amused. Without proper supervision, who knew what trouble the mischief maker would cause? This clone is going into seclusion. Luo Feng's clone turned and walked into the silent chamber of its cave to enter the Star Tower. This was the usual state of the 2 nations' forefathers, the East Extremity Domain Ancestor and Emperor Qing, most of the time in seclusion, only occasionally emerging to relax. Whoosh! Whoosh! Luo Feng and Emperor Qing streaked across the sky toward a secluded spot in the Heavenly Extremes ice plains. A valley of ice carved into the landscape hid a dark, bottomless pool, the origin continent's teleportation passage. Luo Hei, Emperor Qing. Emperor Consort sat cross-legged beside the pool. He rose and smiled at the two. Emperor Consort. Luo Feng returned the smile. He had a good impression of Emperor Consort. When Emperor Yan repeatedly tried to suppress him, Emperor Consort had always stood by his side. Have you been waiting here all this time? Emperor Qing guessed. There are countless dangers beyond the source world, so I want to go out with you, Emperor Consort said. Emperor Qing frowned. Emperor Consort's strength was still weak. Outside, he would at best be an errand, but they were of the same clan, and camaraderie over the years counted. I have no objection to you following, Emperor Qing said, but it depends on Luo Hei's opinion. Emperor Consort looked at Luo Feng. Over the years, he had stood by Luo Feng openly and secretly for this very day. Since Emperor Qing has no objection, I certainly don't object, Luo Feng said with a smile. Emperor Consort's face brightened. Emperor Qing then proposed, if we're taking Emperor Consort, let's bring Emperor Wu. He's also from the Yanfeng ancient kingdom. Emperor Wu's strength may even exceed mine. On the Hunyuan bloodline path, he's already touched the threshold of God Emperor, Emperor Consort added. If Emperor Wu is willing, let's go together. Luo Feng liked Emperor Wu and had no objections. Emperor Qing sent a message to Emperor Wu. Soon a flash of light appeared in the valley. Emperor Wu had arrived. Luo He and I discussed it. We're taking you and Emperor Consort, Emperor Qing told him. Thank you, Luo He, Emperor Wu replied gratefully. Though aloof, he knew his modest strength would be ordinary outside the source world. The robbery beast diagram Emperor Wu gave me earlier helped my cultivation. I haven't thanked him properly, Luo Feng said, smiling. Emperor Consort was relieved. At least he wouldn't be the weakest now that Emperor Wu was coming. Then let's depart, Emperor Qing said. An invisible force enveloped the four, drawing them into the dark pool. Emperor Qing already had a Hunyuan space imprint of the Nine Rivers sacred world and locked onto its distant location. The pool glowed, and Emperor Qing, Luo Feng, Emperor Consort, and Emperor Wu were teleported beyond the source world, bound for the Nine Rivers sacred world. End of this arc. The Origin Continent plot officially ends. The Beyond the Source World arc begins. Outside the source world, Fan Qi will need to prepare the world structure, plot settings, and character details carefully. Also, it's currently the 2 sessions period, and Fang Qi is busy, so I'll take 3 days off. The next arc will begin updates on the 19th. Finally, thanks to the new Alliance leader, Muzi Huakai for Yilai for the reward, and thanks again to the former Alliance leader Lao Ke for the repeated support. Chapter 275, Arrival at the Nine Rivers Holy Realm. As they plunged into the dark void, Luo Feng felt an invisible ripple wash over him. His God Emperor early stage, body shrugged it off without trouble. He noticed the Emperor's expression remained calm, while the Emperor Consort frowned slightly, struggling. A single drop of water, enclosing Luo Feng, Di Qing, the Emperor Consort, and the Emperor, broke away from the Origin Continent source world. The drop streaked through Hunyuan space at impossible speed. Luo Feng had peered beyond the source world once with his eye of creation and destruction, but this drop left the Origin Continent behind in the blink of an eye. The massive source world shrank, then vanished from sight. He felt the distance from home keenly. When he first arrived on the Origin Continent, he'd thought the primordial universe was home. Now, it was clear that the Origin Continent source world was his true anchor. The clone he had left behind there would lose the protection of the supreme rule. Worlds rushed past. In the distance, a vast source world approached, but the drop slid by it in an instant. 10, 20, 50, one after another, massive source worlds dissolved into the horizon within seconds. The speed of the water drop was staggering. A colossal dark green serpent glided through the Hunyuan space. It looked as if it moved lazily, yet its body stretched far beyond the Origin Continent's scale, nearly a third the length of a whole source world. The serpent glanced at the streaking drop and watched it vanish. A thought flitted through its mind. Something that moved so fast in Hunyuan space must be a world lord skilled in evasion or the result of a Hunyuan lord's teleportation. It seems my presence was detected. I'll come hunting another time. The serpent murmured to itself, then drifted away. A moment later, a phantom descended into the region and solidified into a black-robed youth. Space-time around him bent and yielded. The events and traces inside that region were laid bare under his gaze. His eyes hardened with killing intent. A serpent cub of a world-level Hunyuan being, he murmured. The infinite great serpent clan is the most troublesome of the skyborn mixed source life. They slip across the infinite mixed origin space wherever they please. He planned to find opportunities to crush a few of them. He vanished as swiftly as he had come. Judging by its size, that was a world-level Hunyuan life, Di Qing said as the drop shot through the infinite mixed origin space. Fortunately, we're inside a protective teleportation water drop. Any contamination is isolated. If you had faced a living world-level Hunyuan life directly, Emperor Consort, you probably would have died instantly. Among the four, the Emperor Consort's spiritual will was the weakest, still at the God King ultimate realm. Separated by the water drop, Luo Feng and the Emperor only caught a blurred glimpse of the winding serpent and felt no immediate danger. While teleporting through the infinite mixed origin space, we occasionally see skyborn mixed source life, but such powerful ones are rare, Di Qing added from experience. We're almost at the Nine Rivers sacred world. After crossing 125 source worlds, the drop finally reached its destination. From outside, the Nine Rivers Sacred World appeared as a vast, oval world slightly smaller than the origin continent. 9 winding rivers coiled around it like heavy chains. Along each river, countless secret patterns flowed, forming a colossal array that sealed the entire world. The drop entered the Nine Rivers Sacred World and fell toward its center. They emerged at the foot of a majestic sacred mountain. More than 200 figures were already gathered there, some in small clusters, some standing alone, all waiting patiently. Luo Feng sensed stark differences in their temperaments and cultivation systems. A burly man with a great bow on his back sat silently. A long-robed elder with glasses surveyed them calmly. A giant, as if hewn from stone, sat like a sleeping mountain. Translucent creatures peeked from rock crevices. A woman of living flame merged into the void. The Emperor Consort's expression suddenly changed. Slivers of skin peeled from his face and his energy scattered. "My body is collapsing," he said in alarm. "Don't panic," Diqing said. "Any complete great path can function across source worlds, but the Nine Rivers Sacred World isn't a source world. It's a special cultivation realm created by Senior Yuan and his peers. The origin great path of space that forms your physical body is partially incompatible here, so your body will be unstable. You need to discard the incompatible parts and reforge your physical system. Your strength might dip for a while, but your body won't collapse." The Emperor Consort nodded and set to work perfecting his physical body. For Tao comprehensions, the body is a construct of their Tao. They can modify and rebuild it to adapt. Diqing turned to Luo Feng with surprise. Emperor Consort cultivates the Hunyuan bloodline, and a Hunyuan-blooded body is naturally compatible with Hunyuan space and many worlds. But Luo He, your clones were transformed into Hunyuan-blooded beings, weren't they? Luo Feng smiled. The clones he had raised were wholly altered into Hunyuan bloodline creatures, so the Nine Rivers Sacred World hadn't affected his strength. Diqing didn't press further. A body made purely from the profound mysteries of a great path can collapse upon entering a strange world, Luo Feng observed. Diqing nodded. For a Tao comprehension, traveling to and adapting in different worlds is a form of cultivation. The sacred mountain trembled. A voice spoke from its peak. "New cultivators, a flying boat will arrive each epoch and carry you to one of the cities of the Nine Rivers Sacred World." "That was the sacred mountain," Diqing said. "It protects 2 teleportation channels." "2?" Luo Feng asked, puzzled. "This teleportation channel at the mountain's foot can return to the origin continent," Diqing explained, pointing at the mountain path. "Climb the path, and you need at least a God Emperor late-stage Tao comprehension to reach the summit. The summit has a deep abyss used for teleportation to the Dark Sacred World. The 2 nations' forefathers are in the Dark Sacred World." The Emperor Consort, still occupied with his body, told them to wait. Diqing then spoke to the gathered crowd. His aura spread and enveloped the 200 cultivators. As a Tao comprehension who had reached God Emperor early stage on the origin continent, Diqing's presence was terrifying without the world's suppression. The others, realizing they could not contend with him, fell silent. "The Nine Rivers Sacred World has 35 cities," Diqing announced. "I plan to go to Yulan City. Those who wish to travel with me may join. The fee is 100 Hunyuan crystals or equivalent. This is the normal price." Hands rose. Some were regular adventurers returning to their cities. They lacked the strength to travel alone and had been waiting for a transport. Within minutes, 96 cultivators agreed to follow. Most paid the fee. Those who couldn't offered equivalent valuables. "I've earned nearly 10,000 Hunyuan crystals," Diqing said with a smile as he accepted the payments, then looked at Luo Feng and the 2 others. "In the Nine Rivers Sacred World, Hunyuan crystals are needed everywhere. Without them, you won't even qualify to live in a city long-term. Perhaps Senior Yuan and the others designed it this way to force us to struggle." He gestured, and a cyan metal flying boat materialized, its hull streaked with mottled traces, but exuding a threatening aura that made everyone tremble. Diqing settled the 96 followers in the cabins. The 4 of them occupied the front hall. The boat vanished into the void and shot toward Yulan City. Diqing stood at the bow, looking back at the coiling rivers. The most dangerous places here are those 9 rivers, he said. They act like chains, sealing the world. They draw vast Hunyuan power from the outside and concentrate it within the rivers. Therefore, energy is densest inside the rivers, he continued. Low-level Hunyuan life dwell in them to absorb energy and survive long-term. Luo Feng peered into the distance. Are there many low-level Hunyuan life in the rivers? Countless, Di Qing replied. No one knows how many low-level Hunyuan beings Senior Yuan and the others captured and threw into the rivers. They are our primary hunting targets in the 9 rivers sacred world. Of course, those low-level Hunyuan life hunt us too. As the flying boat sped toward Yulan City, Di Qing began explaining the common knowledge and rules of the 9 rivers sacred world, detailing what their group should expect in the days to come. Chapter 276, Yulan City. Inside the flying vessel's forward hall, everyone felt the peculiar stillness of the 9 rivers sacred world. The space here is so stable that even with my spatial attainments, I can barely get it to move, Emperor Consort said, steadying himself as he took in the world's unique character. Di Qing smiled. 9 rivers sacred world is home to countless low-level Hunyuan beings and powerful cultivators drawn from billions of worlds. The battles they wage unleash unimaginable forces. This world must be incredibly stable to withstand all that. Luo Feng nodded. Source worlds always had limits to preserve stability. The 9 rivers act like chains that seal the whole world, he said, beginning to understand their purpose. That stability is probably why even someone with spatial Tao at the half-primordial origin level can only make very short jumps. Di Qing chuckled. My flying vessel can only make slow progress because of it. It's fast enough. Luo Feng appreciated the vessel's speed. His 5 avatars each had different talents. Some specialized in travel, but none could match the ship. An eye opened on Luo Feng's forehead, the biomimetic extinction eye, a secret technique he had developed from studying the Star Tower and the Eye of Creation and Destruction on Origin Continent. It sharpened his observation to near the top among god emperors, if not quite enough to transcend the cage. With the biomimetic extinction eye active, Luo Feng saw faint movement in the distance, an azure illusory creature merging into the void, watching the approaching vessel with clear hostility. Brother Di Qing, be careful. There's a low-level Hunyuan creature lying in ambush ahead, he telepathed. Di Qing looked toward the distance, surprised. Brother Luo, his senses are impressive. I walk the spatial Tao and have a secret treasure as aid, but I barely noticed that green smoke beast out there. The vessel seemed to glide normally until it neared the green smoke beast. Then it surged, accelerating 50 to 60% and swiftly leaving the beast behind. The green smoke beast didn't even have time to give chase. There aren't many low-level Hunyuan creatures that can catch up with my vessel, Di Qing said. The early part of the route is easy. The middle section, where we cross the rivers, will be more dangerous. 2 days later, the vessel had fully merged with the void, flying over a river of an unknown, terrifying breadth that stretched billions of kilometers. From the infinite mixed origin space, the 9 rivers looked like colossal seals across the world. Traversing one could take half a day, even at the ship's speed. Luo Feng scanned with his eye and reported, I've found 3. High above, a flying beast has melted into the wind. There's a cloud cluster creature, and another is lurking on the water's surface. Amazing. Di Qing laughed. I only spotted 2. Your investigative method is sharper than mine. Luo Feng thought of the Eye of Creation and Destruction. If he'd brought it, his reconnaissance would be far stronger, but the infinite space treasure trove forbade taking such relics out of the source world. They kept a cautious distance from the low-level Hunyuan life. Di Qing explained, these creatures mainly live within the 9 rivers where the energy sustains them. If they leave the rivers at all, they don't go far and can return quickly. The ones hovering above the water are just gambling for prey, usually weaker than those that dive deep into cultivator settlements. The Emperor asked about their strength. We call them low-level Hunyuan life, but they're still origin life, Di Qing replied. Born transcending the cage but unable to fully release their potential, they're relatively weak compared to true Hunyuan elites. Most are around God Emperor, early stage in power, often slightly stronger than the weakest among us. Their intelligence may be lower, but their vitality and physical bodies are extremely resilient. Killing even the weakest among them usually requires a God Emperor, early stage, Tao comprehension cultivator. In Nine Rivers' sacred world, Di Ching continued, reaching God Emperor, early stage, is the threshold for participating in most hunting parties. Without it, no team will accept you. Emperor and Emperor Consort exchanged looks. Luo Feng felt pressure. His 8-branch fusion creation and destruction Dao had only just reached that threshold. A true God Emperor, early stage. Dao comprehension cultivators' casual techniques could be exquisitely deadly. Some forbidden moves even approached God Emperor, middle stage, strength. Still, Luo Feng reminded himself that he had 5 avatars, each an early stage life form with unique talents. Together, they might be able to stand their ground. They flew cautiously across the river, barely revealing themselves. Only one low-level Hunyuan life caught a glimpse of the vessel's true form before it was left behind. The sacred mountain at the center of the Nine Rivers sacred world made the route to Yulan City require crossing 2 rivers, and during the trip, Luo Feng saw more of Di Qing's mastery. Di Qing's spatial attainments, aided by secret treasures, far exceeded Luo Feng's own ultimate realm techniques of the creation and destruction Dao. Brother Di Qing, Luo Feng telepathed, have you reached God Emperor, middle stage? Di Qing answered evenly. I became God Emperor, early stage, on Origin Continent and made more progress after coming here. I've gotten a foot into God Emperor, middle stage, and comprehended some middle stage secret techniques, but fully becoming a middle stage Dao comprehension cultivator will take time. Luo Feng understood. Di Qing's cultivated techniques and treasure aids put him well ahead. We won't rush into hunting when we reach Yulan City, Di Qing said with a smile. We'll use the city's resources to strengthen ourselves, buy what we need, choose proper secret treasures, and only head out when fully prepared. The city soon came into view, massive and fortress-like, layered with colorful formations and protections woven by many cultivation systems. From above, the defenses felt oppressive. The 35 cities here were built at great cost, Di Qing said. These safeguards reflect different systems working together, but low-level Hunyuan life are beings that transcend the cage. Some of their abilities are too strange to be completely guarded against. Occasionally, they slip into cities and ambush cultivators inside. Fortunately, infiltrators are 1 in 10,000, very rare. As they approached the grand city gate of Yulan City, a defensive fluctuation descended. Inside the vessel, a blurry figure of a blue-robed man with a large beard projected himself. He scrutinized the newcomers, Luo Feng, Emperor, Emperor Consort, and then smiled at Di Qing. Di Qing, you brought 3 companions and dozens of new cultivators? Di Qing nodded. The bearded man explained the city's rules. Everyone who entered had to rent a cave dwelling within 3 days or be expelled. The city protected all cultivators, but each had to pay 1 Hunyuan crystal per epoch as a protection fee. Fall behind by an epoch, and you were expelled, and killing within the city was forbidden, punishable by execution. We need to register the identities of you 3, he said. Luo Feng introduced himself as Luo Feng, also known by many names. Galaxy, Luo He, and Emperor Consort gave their names. The bearded registrar split his attention and recorded the details of the other cultivators from the ship's rear cabin. These 3 will stay in my cave dwelling, Di Qing said, smiling. I'll prepay their living expenses for 100 epochs each. He handed over 300 Hunyuan crystals, and the bearded man nodded. The protection fee had been covered. Soon the entry procedures were complete, and Di Qing parked the flying vessel. He led Luo Feng, Emperor, and Emperor Consort into the city proper. From above the inner wards, Luo Feng could see millions of cultivators and countless cave dwellings, the population's attire and auras betraying many different schools and systems. Remember the rules I told you, Di Qing said quietly as they looked down. Don't trust the no-killing rule blindly. Yulan City is governed by cultivators. To punish someone, you need convincing evidence, and with so many systems, some killing methods are inscrutable. If the true perpetrator can't be found, cases stay unresolved. He glanced at Emperor and Emperor Consort. You 2 are weaker. The safest way to live here is to appear sufficiently poor. Poor? They asked. If you show treasures, you become a target. But if you look like you have nothing, no one has a reason to risk hitting you. Learn to act poor. They nodded. Di Qing guided them deeper into the city until they reached his cave dwelling. I'll share a small portion of this dwelling's energy authority with you two, enough for slow cultivation. The rest will be split between Luo He and me. Emperor and Emperor Consort accepted gratefully. Di Qing then addressed Luo Feng. The rent for this cave dwelling is 100 Hunyuan crystals per epoch. I'll cover the first 1,000 epochs. After that, we'll split it equally, or you can choose to rent your own cave. Luo Feng considered the arrangement. With the protection fees and the cave secured, they had a foothold in Yulan City. Now they only needed to prepare properly before venturing out to hunt. Chapter 277, Customs of Yulan City. The cave dwelling Di Qing had rented sat in the inner city of Yulan. From the outside, it looked unremarkable, but once they stepped through the gate, the space opened up to be thousands upon thousands of times larger. Luo Feng and 3 companions walked in together. I'll divide the space first, Di Qing said. At his command, the vast interior reorganized itself. 2 smaller chambers formed in opposite corners. A public courtyard remained in the center, and the rest split into 2 equal halves. How you arrange your half is up to you, Di Qing added. I'll take the left one, Luo Feng said. I'll take the right, another voice answered. Dai and the Emperor Consort made no objections and immediately moved into the corner chambers. They didn't have to pay rent and could follow Di Qing and Luo He. Having such protection in Yulan City was everything. They both knew very well that without the backing of those 2, living here would be 100 or 1,000 times harder. I'll send you a detailed intelligence report on Yulan City, Di Qing said, then walked off to his own section. Di, the Emperor Consort, and Luo Feng entered their assigned spaces. This place isn't bad, Di remarked, sensing the absorption of ambient energy. Energy absorption can reach 30% of my maximum speed. Not bad at all. He was at a personal bottleneck. His requirements were already low. Luo Feng explored the empty expanse of his half. With a thought, he drew energy into architecture, wine pavilions, quiet rooms, reception halls. He walked up to the highest pavilion, produced a pot of wine, sat down, and began studying the report Di Qing had sent. Yulan City was self-governed by cultivators. The Elder Hall ruled the city. 3 hall masters and 327 elders managed affairs. To become an Elder One needed at least the God Emperor late stage in Dao comprehension or combat power equivalent to half a primordial origin. If someone could activate part of the city's defense system, they became eligible. With higher activation levels, a hall master appointment was possible. Every elder had to be capable of strengthening Yulan City's defenses. Being an elder required permanent stationing in Yulan City, no leaving. Yet the beings who could reach half-primordial strength were the sort who normally yearned to go to the dark sacred world. It offered greater opportunities to break free from the cage. Why, then, did the core members of the Elder Hall stay here? Luo Feng guessed the answer. They used avatars. An avatar could be left in Yulan City to operate as a placeholder while the master's other avatars went to the dark sacred world. Having avatars implied that the hall's core rulers came from source worlds. Luo Feng read on. Residents paid 1 Hunyuan crystal per epoch just to live here, and every dwelling in the city was rented, the city's official income. Those funds paid for law enforcers and the defense systems, and the surplus went to the 3 hall masters and the 327 elders. No wonder the income was attractive enough to keep avatars stationed long-term. Population figures were staggering. Hundreds of millions below God Emperor level and millions at God Emperor level. In the Dao comprehension path, a complete great path often meant it wasn't too hard to become a God Emperor, while those reliant on bloodlines sometimes hit ceilings determined by their heritage. There was also an intelligence organization selling dossiers on every God Emperor in the city for the steep price of 10,000 Hunyuan crystals. The report would at best cover about 90% of God Emperors. Some quietly broke through and remained hidden, and many had concealment methods that eluded detection. The intelligence also included a forbidden heart curse technique, which was strictly controlled. Di Qing had warned Luo Feng that he couldn't pass the file along. It's expensive, Luo Feng muttered. I can't afford that. Di Qing walked up to the entrance of Luo Feng's space. You don't need it immediately, he said with a smile. But eventually, you should buy a copy. Only then will you understand how many terrifying beings are hiding here and who you must not provoke. Di Qing waved his hand, and a pile of brilliant crystal Hunyuan coins materialized at Luo Feng's feet. I'll lend you 100,000 Hunyuan crystals. Pay me back after our hunts. Luo Feng was stunned. Di Qing had given the cave dwelling use for free and half the space to him. The rent value for even 1,000 epochs would have been tens of thousands of Hunyuan crystals. Now Di Qing was lending him 100,000. When Luo Feng had first arrived in the Nine Rivers sacred world, he had been penniless. The loan touched him. When you first arrive in the Nine Rivers sacred world, Hunyuan crystals are what you need most, Di Qing said. Use them to buy resources and strengthen yourself. Remember one thing when you go out to buy supplies, he added more seriously. Carry as little Hunyuan crystal as possible each time. In Yulan City, temptation breeds violence. Killing, plundering, and theft are common. Even if you survive physically, losing valuables can still be devastating. I understand, Luo Feng replied. Di Qing's report had described the city's frequent thefts and scams. Many crimes didn't involve killing, and so drew less severe official punishment. Cheating and stealing were particularly rife. Consider anything stolen as tuition, Di Qing said with a wry sigh. The methods of theft here are varied, tricks from every cultivation system you can imagine. Luo Feng left the cave dwelling to explore the city, but took Di Qing's advice. He carried only 5,000 Hunyuan crystals. With 5 avatars fully formed, he trusted he could protect that amount. He'd brought no hidden treasures. His most valuable possession on this trip was those 5,000 crystals. From his homeworld, he had an energy reserve equivalent to 1,200 times a perfect divine body. The 5 avatars on this trip combined had about 200 times perfect divine body in ordinary state. His true strength for now. No sooner had Luo Feng stepped onto the street than the city's defense systems, managed by the 3 hall masters and 327 elders, flared to life. Invisible, colorless waves swept over the city and brushed past him. In the innermost core of the inner city, deep inside a vast cave dwelling, a figure bathed in light sat motionless. His entire body seemed forged from light. A red diamond-shaped gem gleamed at his brow as torrents of information streamed through it. Data about every god emperor in the city flowed into that gem. A recorded profile popped up. New city member, Luo Feng. Residence, Yulan City, Inner City, Tianshui District, Cave Dwelling, number 99179. Strength, suspected early-stage god emperor. Shares residence with Di Qing, suspected same source world. That data synchronized outward. In another cavern, a massive spherical creature lay dormant, its surface intermittently forming faces, howling, sleeping, snarling, laughing. Countless holes pockmarked its skin. Figures moved in and out of those openings. The creature's network processed and debated Luo Feng's arrival. A newly arrived god emperor, living with Di Qing? He shouldn't be destitute, one voice said. Let him experience Yulan City's customs, another suggested. He's most likely from the Common Tao Comprehension lineage. We can teach him the strength of other systems. Moyada, take care of it. A short, strange figure launched from the creature's holes, chuckling as it sped through the city. Its organization had already locked onto Luo Feng. If the newcomer entered any public place, he could not hide. Whoosh! The figure headed straight for Luo Feng's location. Chapter 278, Theft and Anti-Theft. The merchants in Yulan City were concentrated in the inner city. After leaving his cave dwelling, Luo Feng arrived at a nearby merchant hall within moments. The place was vast, partitioned into independent booths, each displaying remains of low-level Hunyuan life. Esteemed guest, a waiter greeted him cheerfully. I'm just looking around. Luo Feng wasn't in a hurry to buy. He wanted to see the whole city first. The waiter smiled. Our hall specializes in remains of low-level Hunyuan life. They're excellent for Tao comprehension. We also have larger specimens used for refining artifacts, concocting medicines, body tempering, and even extracting intact Hunyuan bloodlines. There were dozens of booths, waiters stationed everywhere, and a formation humming quietly. We have a total of 11,341 kinds of remains, the waiter continued, covering at least 70% of the low-level Hunyuan races in the Nine Rivers sacred world. Luo Feng opened the biomimetic extinction eye on his brow and examined the displays carefully. Cultivators in Yulan City used various observation methods. As long as you didn't break the independent space to grab anything, the attendants didn't mind how you inspected it. Skyborn mixed source life, black cloud devouring beast. God Emperor, early stage, strength. Relatively weak, Luo Feng murmured, noting a dozen parts of that beast on display. Small items like a scale, a bone, or a vial of blood were suitable for Dao comprehension and cost between 100 and 500 Hunyuan crystal per piece. But a massive complete claw, a full tendon running the length of its body, or an extracted Hunyuan bloodline were priced at 20,000 Hunyuan crystal each. The most precious was the intact life core, 100,000 Hunyuan crystal. The life cores still intact? Luo Feng was surprised. Skyborn mixed source life had cores like every being's source. Once the core was destroyed, the creature would die. Preserving a life core while killing such a being was rare. He sighed inwardly. These Skyborn mixed source life could be disassembled and sold in parts. Bloodline extraction, medicine, artifact refinement, everything. Cultivators grasped in the dark, seeking to break free from their cages. Studying those who'd already escaped was one of the best ways. Luo Feng drifted from hall to hall. His God Emperor, early stage, aura drew cordial attention wherever he went. He scanned the weapon secret treasures as well. Most God Emperor early stage secret treasures were meant for God King Ultimate Realm cultivators. A casual strike from Luo Feng would outclass many of them. Secret treasures started around 2,000 Hunyuan crystal and rose with quality and rank. God Emperor middle, late, perfect, and Skyborn artifacts were progressively more expensive. "You're rich-looking," Luo Feng joked to himself when he saw prices for Skyborn secret treasures like the legendary Palm World. He knew some of those treasures were partly to safeguard the Dao River sect, and partly because his own strength was too low to wield them yet. No matter the city, in the Nine Rivers sacred world, there's killing, plundering, and theft, an attendant told him. This spatial secret treasure, Illusion World Maze, can integrate into your body. Few can steal from those whose treasures are hidden inside. Powerful God Emperors almost all have one. Illusion World Maze? Luo Feng studied the advertisement. How much? Not expensive, 100,000 Hunyuan crystal each. That's a uniform price throughout the Nine Rivers sacred world. The waiter grinned. Luo Feng shook his head and left. Those with a deeper accumulation could afford it. Luo Feng had only 10,000 Hunyuan crystals so far, far from enough. There were many auxiliary cultivation treasures as well. The rare treasures of the Nine Rivers sacred world were essences extracted from Skyborn mixed source life, and they helped cultivation far more effectively than Hunyuan crystals. But the better the treasure, the higher the price. This secret treasure is called the Formless Divine Weapon, a waiter enthused at another stall. It can inscribe any secret pattern. With the right engraving, it can mimic any secret treasure. You can test and verify cultivation insights with it. Luo Feng's interest piqued. He could try engraving his insights into the Star Tower's deeper patterns or the Eye of Creation and Destruction. "How much?" he asked. 50 million Hunyuan crystal per piece, the waiter replied with a grin. Luo Feng blinked. The price was staggering, more than many Skyborn secret treasures and far above what many God Emperor perfect-level treasure sets cost. Many top God Emperors have world-level Hunyuan remains, the waiter explained. They study the remains' mysteries and engrave them into the formless divine weapon to verify their insights. It's not something an ordinary set of secret treasures can match. Luo Feng sighed inwardly. There were too many temptations, auxiliary rare treasures, Skyborn remains suited for life, destruction, creation, and destruction combination, countless secret treasures. But he was poor. "No rush, I'll just see Yulan City today and make purchases tomorrow," he told himself. He noticed some famous treasures had unified prices across merchants, but remains prices varied. Some merchants sold cheaper. Luo Feng planned to hunt for bargains and buy what he needed at the lowest possible cost. As he flew through Yulan City, scanning the crowds and displays, he didn't notice a short figure watching from a distance. The short man chuckled when he saw Luo Feng. Luo Feng? A newcomer God Emperor early stage? His mind raced. He made his move. The inner city was heavily guarded. Hundreds of elders kept the city's defenses operational, and those systems unnerved even experienced travelers. Luo Feng felt it tangibly as he passed through the area. Suddenly there was the faintest whisper of wind across him. "What's that?" Luo Feng frowned. It was like an attack, but subtle, almost imperceptible. He felt something probing him, and he became more alert. The short man afar was surprised. This newcomer wasn't a typical Dao comprehension cultivator. He had a hint of low-level Hunyuan life about him. His body felt like a secret world concealed within, and all his treasures hidden in that world. Hunyuan bloodline cultivators often had explosive power and robust bodies, but they lacked such refined control. Luo Feng's body gave the impression of a complete, vast world. The short man sneered, then spat out a bloody worm. "Good treasure. Go into his world and take everything." He sent the worm on its way with a thought. The theft was meant to be stealthy. The bloody worm concealed itself, slipped past Luo Feng's outer defenses, and drilled toward his inner world. Luo Feng immediately sensed the intrusion. In his home, the origin continent, he had cultivated 9 Hunyuan bloodline forms and chosen 5 to use here. These 5 were his clones for venturing into the 9 Rivers sacred world and handling dangerous situations. The one he showed outwardly most often was the world clone. Thick-skinned, massively strong, tenacious, and hardy, with an inner world much like a true world life form. The more energy it held, the stronger it became. Its reserves were 100 times that of a perfect divine body. The other 4 clones had far smaller reserves. An invisible fluctuation had just pierced the inner world. The stronger the world clone, the more stable its inner world was. The bloody worm unleashed a wave of secret technique across the inner world, aiming to seize any treasures inside. Inside the inner world, the other 4 clones were sitting cross-legged. They all looked like Luo Feng but wore different colored robes. "Humph." The heaven and earth clone snorted. In an instant, it dispersed and merged into the inner world itself. Its nature blended with the world membrane like flesh becoming one with the planet. With the heaven and earth clone integrated, the world's defenses and stability rose dramatically. The bloody worm suddenly felt a tenfold increase in pressure and restraint. Where it had been able to slip through currents easily before, now it felt like sinking into thick glue, trapped. Does his inner world have no treasures? The worm swept through, probing frantically. It found nothing. The 3 other clones in the inner world stared at the intruder. Luo Feng had prepared. The 5,000 Hunyuan crystal he carried were hidden in the inner world under the guard of the time clone. The treasure was actually placed on the time clone's future body. The time clone existed across past, present, and future, so the funds were secured on a future incarnation. The heaven and earth clone guarded the inner world itself. If anyone could steal from him even now, he'd simply laugh it off as tuition. Realizing things had gone wrong, the bloody worm tried to vanish and escape. It slammed into the reinforced world membrane, but could not break free. After the heaven and earth clone and the inner world merged, the membrane's toughness had increased more than tenfold. "Not good. I got in, but I can't get out," the bloody worm panicked, trapped within the very world it had trespassed into. Chapter 279, Compensation. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The blood-colored worm writhed, repeatedly trying to pierce the world membrane. Each time it struck, it was repelled by a far thicker, far sturdier barrier. "I've heard theft is common in Yulan City," one of the 3 Luo Feng clones inside the inner world said with a smile, "but their methods are certainly creative." "Set me free. I won't bother you again," the blood-colored worm pleaded, floating in the air. "Haha, you break into my inner world whenever you please, and now you expect to walk away?" The 3 Luo Fengs looked at it with amusement. Too late. Furious, the blood-colored worm beat its 6 pairs of tiny wings and vanished, reappearing beside one of the clones. That clone was the Tianguang clone, one of Luo Feng's 5 clone types. The Tianguang clone was the most indestructible of them, its body like a divine weapon or a secret treasure. Luo Feng prized it highly, but it consumed a great deal of energy. The more energy invested, the more the Tianguang clone would collapse and condense, demanding greater spiritual will. At 1 times the perfect divine body's energy it condensed once. At 3 times it condensed a second time. At 10 times the strongest Luo Feng could maintain, it had condensed 3 times. Beyond that, Luo Feng's will could not force further condensation. Bang! The blood-colored worm, itself like a secret treasure, smashed into the Tianguang clone. The two collided like clashing arm segments, and both emerged unscathed. What? It's only got the clone's weakest energy, the worm muttered in disbelief. Suppress, a voice ordered. The heaven and earth clone merged with the inner world. Heaven and earth energies swelled and formed a colossal millstone, Luo Feng's ultimate realm's secret technique from the path of creation and destruction, the creation and destruction millstone. The millstone closed around the worm, attempting to crush it. The blood-colored worm's body, however, was treasure-like and seemingly unfazed. This won't do. The worm was trapped inside the millstone, continuously ground and unable to escape. Luo Feng, you dare! The worm roared. Luo Feng frowned. The intelligence network behind these thieves was impressive. He had only registered himself in the city today, and already this thief knew his name. Slash. The cause-effect clone, standing by, unleashed a curse-like killing technique. Of Luo Feng's 5 clones, World, Heaven and Earth, Time, Tianguang, and Cause-effect, the cause-effect clone excelled in perceiving causes and effects and was naturally suited for curse and causality techniques. Using the path of creation and destruction, Luo Feng had developed an ultimate realm secret technique called severing life force. It was an invisible, causality-based killing curse, and it struck the blood-colored worm. Ah! With a single blow, the worm screamed in agony and its aura collapsed noticeably. Stop! Stop! The worm cried. A small worm withstood one of my attacks? The cause-effect clone flashed. Try again. I surrender! I surrender! The worm pleaded. It had invested enormous resources to cultivate itself, one of the thief's 3 primary life-bound worms. If the life-bound worm died, its master would be gravely injured. Worse, most of the thief's stealing techniques relied on this worm. You think you can just wander off after surrendering? The 3 Luo Fengs asked in unison. I'll compensate, the worm said, reluctantly but obediently. The curse had taken too much from it. Another strike and the worm's consciousness might be annihilated. How much? Luo Feng asked. Don't offer me worthless scraps. 10,000 Hunyuan crystals. I'll pay 10,000, the worm blurted. Luo Feng chuckled. Your worm isn't a clone, yet it's almost like one. It's more valuable than ordinary treasures. I won't be modest. 200,000 Hunyuan crystals. 1 Hunyuan less, and I'll kill it right now. 200,000? The worm shrieked. Could it possibly need so much? I'll give you 3 breaths to decide. If you don't agree, I kill it. Luo Feng didn't bother with politeness. He'd dealt with merchants and thieves before, seen similar worms, and heard the attendants describe the cultivation costs. From the worm's quality and the conversation that followed, he estimated it had cost at least 300,000 Hunyuan crystals to raise, possibly 500,000 or 600,000. 3, 2. Luo Feng watched the worm. Finally, it relented. All right, it said, unwilling but resigned. Give me time to prepare. I'll send the Hunyuan crystals soon. You know where I live, yes? Luo Feng said. Send the Hunyuan crystals to my dwelling. You give me the payment, and I'll hand over the worm. He didn't want to collect such a large sum in public, too risky. It was safer to receive compensation at his own place. All right, the worm agreed, still indignant. Luo Feng nodded and, without further delay, transformed into a streak of light and sped back to his dwelling. 200,000 Hunyuan crystals was a serious transaction. He intended to handle it properly. From a distance, the short figure who had sent the worm ground its teeth in frustration, but could do nothing. The organization's internal intelligence is slipping, it muttered. This Luo Feng is odd. His methods are unpredictable, and those clones of his are a real nuisance. It left to gather the Hunyuan crystals. When the worm arrived at the dwelling's entrance, Luo Feng and Di Qing stepped out together. A black-robed figure stood there, its robe shrouded in a writhing mist that studied Luo Feng and Di Qing in return. Luo Feng, right? The mist asked. Are you sure you want 200,000 Hunyuan crystals? You can choose not to give it, Luo Feng replied calmly. Di Qing watched from the side, composed. Strong individuals from the source world carried a certain arrogance. If it came to a fight, who would fear whom? Very well. The black-robed mist nodded, and a cloth bag materialized from the fog. It floated toward Luo Feng. Check it. Inside are 200,000 Hunyuan crystals. Luo Feng reached out and felt through his consciousness. He confirmed the sum. Correct. With a thought, Luo Feng released the imprisoned blood-colored worm from his inner world. As soon as it burst free, the worm immediately concealed itself and vanished. The black-robed mist turned and left. I was ordered to target Luo Feng, the short figure complained as it and the black-robed misting figure returned inside a massive spherical creature. I failed this time. I can't pay the full 200,000 myself. Observing the prey is basic skill, the black-robed mist snapped. You failed because you were careless. The short figure felt wronged. Failure was possible, but it came at a heavy cost this time. 200,000 Hunyuan crystals lost. The black-robed mist continued coldly. Don't target Source World emergent divine emperors recklessly. Di Qing is from the Source World, and this Luo Feng likely is too. It's not worth a moment of satisfaction. The short figure was furious, but helpless. We'll wait for the right moment, the black-robed mist said more quietly. Killing a few clones won't hurt them much. We must seize their truly valuable treasures. You keep an eye on Luo Feng, it ordered. If you find anything important, report it immediately. After a successful operation, I'll give you 10%. The short figure nodded eagerly. Now that it had more resources, Di Qing had lent it something earlier. It had a total of 300,000 Hunyuan crystals and could be more daring. With the matter settled, Luo Feng began to prepare. He adopted a cautious practice: never carry more than 5,000 Hunyuan crystals at a time when out in public. Over 3 days, he observed the city carefully and shopped deliberately. He spent just over 190,000 Hunyuan crystals buying the supplies he needed. I'll enter secluded cultivation now, Luo Feng said, examining the accumulated resources. The remains of skyborn mixed source lives were the most numerous: bottles of blood, feathers, bones. He'd bought over 300 such relics at an average of about 300 Hunyuan crystals apiece. Compared to the profound mysteries held in the Star Tower or the Eye of Creation and Destruction, these lower-tier Hunyuan life remains were superficial, slightly more profound than a complete Great Path, and thus easier to comprehend. I'll turn these resources into strength. Luo Feng settled his mind and began his cultivation. Chapter 280, The Great Way of Life and Death, The Ultimate Realm. Luo Feng sat cross-legged, his biomimetic extinction eye activated on his forehead, studying a thick bone in front of him. Though the biomimetic extinction eye couldn't match the observational breadth of a high-level origin life, among god emperors in the early stage, it remained a potent observational secret technique. The mysteries of life can be applied like this. Luo Feng traced the secret patterns woven through the bone and felt a new wave of insight. The more than 300 low-level skyborn mixed-source life remains he'd purchased were either life-type, destruction-type, or a combination of both. The embedded patterns went beyond the complete Great Path in complexity. These are exactly what I need. He threw himself into study. Low-level origin life, high-level origin life, world-level Hunyuan life, Hunyuan ancestor. Each step was a massive transformation in life's essence. The secret patterns, ever more profound and intricate, also changed qualitatively. Luo Feng realized his best method was to learn from the bottom up, master the mysteries at each level to build a solid foundation. That way, the scarlet scales of the Star Tower, so distant and forbidding, would become much less impenetrable. A towering building must start from the ground, he thought, and patiently absorbed everything. While he comprehended those patterns, his great path of destruction naturally broke through to the ultimate realm. It had only been half a cycle since he arrived in the Nine Rivers sacred world, and his great path of destruction had reached the ultimate realm. In truth, it had been on the verge of a breakthrough already. Time flowed on. Luo Feng ran through all 300-plus remains once. A superficial comprehension, he muttered in surprise. Did 36 cycles really pass? He began consuming Hunyuan crystal. The first round he'd done without any treasures. Now the crystal elevated his state, and he began to organize the knowledge from that initial pass, integrating it into his cultivation system. That process took another 15 cycles. If I hadn't come to the Nine Rivers sacred world and found so many low-level origin life remains, relying on my own solitary comprehension, who knows when I'd have reached this level? Luo Feng was pleased. The scarlet scales of the Star Tower still felt like a distant light at the end of a very long road, visible but far. He'd need more resources to break through the obstacles ahead. Beginning the second round. With Hunyuan Crystal enhancing him, his second pass was much faster, just 12 cycles, then 6 cycles to fold it into his own knowledge network. In the process, he naturally formed a variety of Ultimate Realm's secret techniques for the life and destruction great path. Once the accumulation is sufficient, creating such techniques becomes routine. Beginning the third round. He picked up a bottle and took out 3 greenish pills that glowed with a faint white light. Heaven and Earth One Heart pills, a highly cost-effective auxiliary treasure for cultivators at lesser stages. Each pill cost 3,000 Hunyuan crystal. Though pricier than raw crystal, the effect was far superior. The pills sent ripples through the rules, as if eager to merge with heaven and earth themselves. He swallowed one. Boom. His body and even his soul seemed to entwine with the heaven and earth rules. Thought processes surged, and flashes of inspiration bloomed at a casual glance around him. The pill's effect was wondrous. With the foundation laid by the previous rounds and the pill's aid, his third comprehension dove into essentials, unraveling far deeper mysteries of life and destruction. Time slipped by in ecstatic Tao comprehension. When the first pill's effect faded, he swallowed the second and pressed on. While the second was still active, he finished the third round and began sorting and integrating what he'd learned. During this process, his understanding of the life and destruction great path deepened until he naturally comprehended the complete life and destruction great path. He took the third pill and continued. Creation and destruction clashed and merged in his mind. Suddenly his head dulled. Intense fatigue and sharp pains stabbed his brain, his state plummeting. He stopped. The pill's effect wore off? A wry smile crossed his face as he assessed the pill's risk. The Heaven and Earth One Heart pill could be taken up to 10 times consecutively, but beyond that, the soul would be injured and would need special treasures and several cycles to recover. 3 to 5 pills induced merely extreme exhaustion. His seclusion lasted 87 cycles. The effect was even better than 2,000 cycles of comprehension on the origin continent, Luo Feng concluded. With abundant resources here, comprehension accelerated by orders of magnitude. On the origin continent, he hadn't been able to access enough low-level origin life remains. That scarcity could create bottlenecks. New knowledge and fresh remains, however, could spark breakthroughs. The life and destruction great path has reached the ultimate realm. He wasn't surprised. Back on the origin continent, he'd already formed 8 ultimate realm secret techniques for that path. Adding a dozen more would naturally push him further. The remains lessons alone carried him to this stage. He now had a clear direction for each path. Life, to pursue ever greater scale and richer sources of life. Bigger is better, as vast as a source world, or broader still. Destruction, to pursue ultimate means of annihilation without compromise. The path of creation and destruction, to fuse the two extremes into one coherent whole. These directions were brutally difficult. The more extreme life and destruction became, the harder it would be to reconcile them. But the scarlet scales of the Star Tower hinted at such a synthesis, an infinitely vast, terrifying life form whose killing prowess was conspicuously weak. The task was to maximize that life's strengths while compensating for its weaknesses. It was a difficult road, and he was only beginning, but for the first time he had a plan to escape the cage. For now, I need more low-level origin life remains. Luo Feng decided. Those remains ranged in strength from God Emperor, early stage, to God Emperor, perfected stage. The stronger the life they'd come from, the deeper the embedded mysteries. The 300 or so remains he'd bought had averaged around 300 Hunyuan crystal each, quite cheap. After preparing more, he'd go hunting with Di Qing. He consumed Hunyuan crystal to recuperate for a few days, then crafted secret techniques tuned to his 5 avatars based on the complete life and destruction great path. With a complete great path understood, devising Ultimate Realm's secret techniques became almost casual. He could even combine moves into forbidden techniques whose power changed qualitatively. That was why a God Emperor, early stage, with deep Tao comprehension could rival a God Emperor, middle stage, Hunyuan bloodline cultivator. 3 more cycles passed before he ended his seclusion. Luo Feng rose and left his quiet room. Di Qing, who had known he was secluded, had been patient. When Di Qing first arrived in the Nine Rivers Sacred World, he had also gathered resources to strengthen himself before hunting. Di and the Emperor Consort have gone out again? Di Qing shook his head slightly. They went out often, penniless, unafraid of theft. They wandered Yulan City seeking opportunities, even inspecting remains offered by merchants. Even a glance through a separate space could provide insight. The Emperor Consort's strength is weak, hard to even find work in Yulan City. Di Qing's Hunyuan bloodline roughly reaches God Emperor, early stage, so he can find work, but he isn't satisfied. Di Qing didn't interfere. Offering free lodging was already a considerable help. He sensed Luo Feng exit his space. Luo Feng saw him. Out of seclusion? Di Qing blinked in surprise and smiled. So soon? I thought you'd delve into those resources longer. I'm almost done. Luo Feng smiled. I plan to buy suitable weapons and secret treasures, then we can go hunting. Di Qing's face lit up at the prospect. They were finally going hunting.